I am going to call the meeting of the United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council Governing Board to order at 7:03. You may have just heard that the meeting is being recorded. And Teresa, can you please read the roll?
Yes, I will. John Arnold.
Here.
John is here. Lizzie Moro Misato.
Here.
Lizzie is here. Sarah Lacey.
Here.
Sarah is here. Nancy Cruz. Nancy is absent. Greg Jackson. Greg is here. Chris Carlson.
Here.
Chris is here. Michael Kimbrough.
Excused, absent.
Okay. Teresa Masonette is here. Dennis Lesky.
Here.
Dennis is here. Isaac Diaz. Absent. Paula Southern.
Here.
Paula is here. Hugo Rodriguez. Absent. Laura Myers.
I am here.
Is here. Carlos Carrick.
Here.
Carlos is here. Paul King.
Here.
Paul is here. Charlie Papp.
She will be late.
Okay, but she's absent right now, so
She is
I make
currently
a
absent.
notation. Yes. Taylor Fife.
Here.
Taylor is here. Raheem Dawson. Raheem is absent. Dolores Spears.
Here.
Dolores is present. Dorit Dowler Guerrero.
Here.
Dorit is here. Jasmine Johnson. Jasmine is absent. That's
No,
14
sorry,
present.
they're both-
and-
No. Jasmine and Raheem, sorry, are in the waiting room. I hadn't noticed.
Okay, so Jasmine, Raheem Dawson. Raheem, present, okay. And Jasmine Johnson,
Her audio is not on yet.
He's there.
Jasmine? Jasmine, are you here?
Yeah, her audio is not connected yet, Teresa.
Okay.
there.
Okay, that's 16 present and 5 absent.
Teresa, can you go over the absence for me, please, again?
Yes. Charlie Papp, Hugo Rodriguez,
And let me interrupt. Hugo has sent in his resignation.
okay,
So,
but for right now.
For your
he is
purposes, he is
Yes.
absent.
Okay, Isaac Diaz, Michael Kimbrough, who has an excused absence, and Nancy Cruz.
Absent, excused, and Nancy Cruz. Hers excused?
I
No.
haven't heard from Nancy.
Okay. Okay, that's.
And let me ask Gibson, do we note at this point that Isaac is suspended, or do we just call him absent on our roll?
Isaac did receive a notification that he's been suspended from the board. So once he completes, once there's a completion of his trainings, then the board will take action to reinstate him.
Yeah, I understand, but for the purposes of our board roll call, is he absent or is he
Suspended.
suspended?
Suspended.
He's suspended. Thank you.
So I'm marking him as suspended instead of absent.
Yes,
That's how I'm
please.
going to do it, Dolores.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
Are you asking me?
Well, I'm asking you and Dolores. Are we ready to move on?
Yes, I said thank you to Teresa.
Okay, thank you so much. The next item on our agenda requires an explanation. So I'm going to read a little speech out loud, but then also discuss a tiny bit. Due to the expiration of Executive Order N-29-20, issued on March 17, 2020, California Assembly Bill AB 361 was signed into law on September 16, 2021. It amends the Government Code Section 54953 to provide authority and specific requirements for public agencies to hold virtual meetings during a proclaimed state of emergency and still remain in compliance with the state's open meetings law, the Brown Act. In order to continue holding virtual meetings, the board, and this is generic, the board needs to determine by majority vote that meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees and adopt a resolution today and every 30 days thereafter. Provided under agenda item 2 is a description, well, is a motion to adopt the necessary AB 361 findings, and the full text of an AB 361 resolution is in our advanced meeting agenda packet. So I need to do a further explanation, which is that this speech was written by the city attorney, but it was written for the planning department and its commissions, HPOZ boards, design review boards, and all of the other citizen commissions and boards as individual legislative bodies. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment is still meeting with the city attorney and has not yet issued any guidance to us, and in fact has not on this matter stated whether or not we are individual legislative bodies. However, they also have on their website a memo, which is also in our agenda packet, explaining why neighborhood councils are individually legislative bodies, and that is because we were, neighborhood councils were, I'm going to use the word adopted, it's maybe not quite the right word, but created by the Los Angeles City Charter and then adopted by ordinance by the city council and approved. So we're in that sort of weird magic moment where we have not ourselves received a direct from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, but other city departments have received that guidance. So in an excess of caution, I would like us to adopt the motion that's on the agenda that we adopt the AB 361 findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E1 B through C, and determine that due to the COVID-19 state of emergency, meeting in person would present imminent risk to either the health or the safety of attendees. So, and a motion and a second would be required. I know that Gibson will have some comment, but first we need to see if there is even a motion.
John just made the motion and I'll second it.
Thank you. So Gibson, I know you may have some comment.
I think one thing is there is correspondence being worked on right now as to what will be the next steps. That will be, the city, the DUN will be going on the interpretation of Assembly Bill 361. And I think I get that you want to take action on it, but it's something that is going to go throughout the whole neighborhood council system. So it's not something that we've said neighborhood council don't qualify. We're just making sure that also as the city council takes its steps in creating a system based off of this new assembly bill, we also are working in that capacity. So I don't think, I wouldn't say that we are taking a sweet time. What we're doing is we're just making sure that we're providing a detailed guidance that will come out in the next, hopefully, it should have come out today. If not today, definitely gonna come out first few days next week. So it's something that has been prioritized, and we want to make sure that we go in the right direction. And so while the board is going to take action on this, I think I just want to vocalize that the department is going to provide guidance as well to the whole neighborhood council system as to how it'll be working and how we'll be meeting virtually.
Right. Does anybody else?
If we have no further discussion, can we just go ahead and take the vote?
Yes. And and is it the pleasure of the board that we do a BAC, or do we want to do it I mean, or Teresa, what do you think? Because you're the,
I have it
Person.
ready to go. I could call it like.
why
right
why
now.
don't you call, then
Okay,
why don't you,
John
go
Arnold?
ahead. Sure,
Yes.
Before we do that, can I ask a question?
sure.
How long is this going to be in effect?
The
30 days.
law is in effect for several years, but
To
the,
2024.
yeah, 2024, but the
So we'll be
emergency,
virtually until 2024?
if there, well, the law is to be in effect till 2024, and it is for any kind of emergency. They also discuss the wildfires as another, remember, this is a statewide law. So the COVID emergency may not be in effect for more than a few more months, right? And the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners also were standing on a current resolution determination by them that neighborhood councils are to meet virtually until the end of, to December 31st, 2021. And at the moment, as of January 1, 2022, we'd be back in person. So it's all changing. Every day is a different day. So
should this have a sunset clause that is in effect until further notice of the state or either Dunn's guidance?
yeah, we would have to readopt it on a monthly basis. That the law says once every 30 days. So even if we've just done this in error, it becomes a no harm, no foul, because under whatever directive on November.
And I think just to
November
reiterate,
4th.
there is no confirmation that we'll be going back to physical meetings January 1. I think that's something that I would like to emphasize. The thing about it is we are right now we have a virtual hybrid work group that is helping sort of create the language and the policy as to how a hybrid model will look like if neighborhood councils want to start meeting physically. But at the moment, I think virtual is still going to be the standard and even through January. So I think, but we asked for the extension because we want to go on an assessment basis without making the assumption that everything will be back to normal, because I don't believe that we will be, but we don't want to, we are creating enough policy that gives us enough time to build on something that looks completely different, that it's going to look now. If we're going to have a hybrid model, how does that look like, right? And how do we incorporate stakeholders who don't want to be there? What about board members who want to be virtual? So it's something that we're still working on right now. We're establishing the policy, and that's why we have the work group. But also the assembly bill is getting their interpretation, and the guidance will be provided from the department to the neighborhood council system shortly.
Right.
So we have to do this motion every 30 days, Laura?
This or whatever motion. Okay. So broadly speaking, it's every 30 days for any legislative body. What Dunn is trying to get a real handle on is, can the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners meet on the first of every month and make the motion for all 99 neighborhood councils? That's maybe an option, or city council, maybe an option, but they don't know yet. So that's why this for us, the new law has been in effect since September 17. So we're in a 30-day grace period, maybe, but even that's questionable. I mean, it's so they don't. I know we're being recorded, but it does seem that the state legislators didn't know how to just write it in plain English, so we could all understand. Raheem has his hand up.
Yeah, a question for Gibson, or a point of clarification. So if we were to not do anything tonight, then what would the consequences be?
None.
For Gibson.
Okay.
The answer would be none. The NC will still continue meeting virtually. That's why I'm sort of, even though the board wants to take action, it's something that we're working on to make sure that, what does that look like in terms of, do we have to do this as 30 days? I don't think so, but we want to make sure that it's clear to the neighborhood council system and works accordingly. And so that's why the guidance is still being worked on, and with review, also we're waiting for how to see how the city council will be taking action as well.
Right.
And so this isn't something that is going to come in on the mandate saying that we have to review it every 30 days. I don't suspect that that's going to be what it's going to be, but if this board wants to take action, they could definitely go ahead and do so, but it's still something that's being worked on as we speak.
Thank you.
Teresa, and then Chris.
Chris can go ahead. I'm gonna withdraw my comment.
Chris,
I understood what was just said. We are not under an imminent need to act on this or to even bring this up. We can continue our normal operations until we hear further from Dunn and the city attorney and other powers that be. Is that what I understood?
that is not my understanding. I'm in disagreement, and I will say, apparently there was a conversation at the EVG hybrid group meeting last week. The law says all legislative bodies, and it doesn't say that one legislative body can adopt this for another one. But again, you guys can each vote how you will. My concern and why I put it on the agenda is to avoid having a Brown Act claim made against us, which would wipe out any action we took tonight. Now that's how remote or not remote is that? I don't know. But that is why I put it on the agenda. And that is because I received the directive from the city attorney, but in the other arena that I'm involved with, which is planning department commissions and HPOZs. Okay, now we have a bunch of hands up again. Teresa, are you ready this time?
Yes, I'm. Thank you, Laura. We have a representative from Dunn here advising us that we do not have to take this vote.
Mhm.
And I want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and again, please, everybody vote what you think and what you feel. You know, it's
Why are we even having the vote?
because we have a motion and a second. Dolores.
I don't care one way or the other whether we vote on this motion or not. I understand where you're coming from, Laura. My only concern is that I just think that we need to have a sunset clause in here. If we voted on it this way, this would mean that we would continuously meet virtually. But at some point, Dunn or the city attorney or whomever is going to say, okay, the COVID state of emergency is lifted. You can now meet in person if you so choose. So, but the way I'm understanding this is that if we don't change this motion or amend it, we'll be meeting virtually from here on out. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You are wrong. It literally says you have to do it every 30 days. It
But I
only
just asked
lasts,
that and he said, no, we don't.
which is, Greg, I know, I'm personally frustrated
So am
because
I.
I know, and this is taking so long. And Greg has his hand up, or was he just raising his arms in frustration?
No.
I don't know.
No, I'm not frustrated.
I don't know.
Let's just vote. so we
Yes,
can move
please.
on.
Yes, let's just vote, and it's either up or down. Everybody can make their own
So we can move
decision.
on.
Yes.
Okay, fine. I don't think we acknowledge Dolores's concern with this, so I don't like the idea that we're ending the discussion.
Okay, I'm
without-
sorry. Let me,
Okay, we're gonna take the vote and then we'll deal with this
Call the
again in
question.
30 days, because I do believe, Dolores, we will have to do it again in 30 days. John, the motion is to accept, to adopt AB 361 as written. John Arnold?
Yes.
John is yes. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie is yes. Sarah? Sarah, are you still
Yes.
with? Sarah
Yes.
is yes. Greg?
No,
Greg is no. Chris?
I abstain because I think it's too murky. We
Okay,
don't
Chris
have clarity on what
abstains.
we're voting on.
Teresa votes no. Dennis?
yes,
Dennis is yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula is yes. Laura?
yes,
Laura is yes. Carlos?
No.
Carlos is no. Paul?
Yes.
Paul is yes. Has Charlie arrived? Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor is yes. Raheem?
No.
Raheem is no. Dolores?
No.
Dolores is no. Dorit?
No.
Dorit is no. Jasmine?
Abstain.
Okay, Jasmine abstains.
And Nancy is here, Teresa.
Nancy,
I abstain.
and Nancy abstains. That's 8 yes, 6 no, and 3 abstentions.
Okay, motion fails
Because we needed 2/3?
because abstentions do not count as yes.
Okay. So because this motion didn't have to take place anyway, and it has no relevance based on what Gibson said, then it means nothing.
We just move on. We're on thank you.
Okay,
And the next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. So I am going to share the screen. Please let me know if you can see the screen.
Not yet. Yes.
Also, Greg, I think someone was in the waiting room.
Yeah, I'll let them in.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I'm going to scroll through the agenda. Just tell me if I'm going too fast. Gibson, on item 7C, did you have a comment or shall I keep moving?
So as a seventh, the department's advice is to not discuss item 7C as it, based off of the way the motion is discussed, it doesn't fall in line with the board removal process based off of the bylaws. One thing that this one talks about is if a board member is removed from three consecutive meetings, then the board can take action. But in this capacity, because the board member did not miss 3, but because the third one was a special, the bylaws can't, this motion doesn't have enough sort of backing based off of the bylaws to take action on it. So the recommendation from the department is not discuss item 7C at all and just not have it been discussed in the agenda.
okay, but excuse me, sorry, Laura, regarding the agenda item 7C, excuse me, the notation will be not discussed, removed, tabled. What is the identification?
I'd
of that?
recommend remove it from today's item of discussion.
So it is to be totally removed.
Yes.
I would like to make an motion that if we approve the agenda as presented, item 7C is removed. Is that what we need to make sure it's properly taken care of?
Yes.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, so before just in case you have to amend the motion based on looking at the rest of the agenda, if that's okay. So the main thing I wanted to point out, and I think there is another board member who wants to make a comment about that. The advice that did come from Raquel Beltran, who's the manager of the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, regarding agenda item times on agendas, is that this new AB, I've already lost it, 361 also states, maybe it does and maybe it doesn't, it's so confusing, but also states that if you say public comment has 10 minutes, and I'm making this generic, or 15 minutes, and then there's only one comment, you have to sit around and wait till the entire time has elapsed. So I rejiggered this agenda's times to be after 7:05 or after 7:30 to avoid that problem. It may or may not avoid the problem, but I do want to point out it does conflict with our standing rules. So we're going to muddle our way through that. But I believe a board member has a comment also about that piece of the agenda. But I can't see any raised hands, so I would rely on Greg to call on hands if there are any.
Oh, okay, I was looking at something else. All right. Sure. Teresa's hand is up.
Yes, thank you, Greg. I disagree with the timing format of the agenda. I've expressed that to Laura. Thank you.
And
So
then-
at the moment, what we have is a motion on the floor to approve the agenda, but delete 7C. Is there any request for?
Actually, that was not my motion. My motion was if there's a motion to approve the agenda, it be the agenda with the removal of 7C, because the group has to decide whether they want to approve it. But I wanted to make sure 7C was deleted for any consideration going forward.
I'm not sure if Teresa could repeat her concern about the timing on the items.
I can't hear you, Greg. I'm sorry.
Can Teresa repeat her concern about the timing of the agendaed items?
Thank you, Greg. In the past, our agenda items have allocated a specific amount of time. And one of the issues we've had is items exceeding that amount of time. And I'm talking to Nancy as the parliamentarian to figure out how we can do that. And one of the ways is to make a motion, a point of order motion, and then to let everybody know we've exceeded the amount of time and that we have to have a motion to add 5 minutes. But with this timing, it says after 7:45, after 8 o'clock. It does not put the agenda item within a frame of an amount of time. Now, what Laura pointed out is that we can still make the motion because every agenda item is not to exceed 5 minutes. But I'm choosing not to, I'm not going to approve the agenda because I just don't like it. And it's just easier for me not to approve it instead of trying to get into all of this morass. So those are my comments.
Okay. So we are already falling well behind time, speaking of. And so what I really would like to do is entertain a motion to approve this agenda minus 7C.
So moved by Chris Carlson.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second, Lizzie.
Right. And we don't do BACs usually for approving the agenda. We just raise our hands. I would ask that only board members raise their hand, and please do so virtually. The hand raise function is now in reactions on your screen. Okay. And we have board members who have not voted. Okay.
We have 12.
So,
We have 12.
so I need to, I do know, why don't you take your hands down? Who votes no?
Well,
Please,
wait a
everybody-
minute. That is not, we just did a vote and you got only
No, we
12
have board
hands.
members, Teresa, we have
Yes.
board members who haven't voted. I'd like to, they may not have voted yet because they might be voting no.
And why don't we just do the BAC, Laura?
Okay, do a roll call, thank you.
Okay, this is for the approval of the agenda minus 7C. John Arnold?
Yes.
John is yes. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie's yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's yes. Nancy?
No.
Nancy is no. Greg?
Yes.
Greg is yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris is yes. Teresa is a no. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula is a yes. Laura?
Yes,
Laura is yes. Carlos?
Yes.
Carlos is yes. Paul?
Yes.
Paul is yes. Has Charlie arrived? Okay. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor is yes. Raheem?
Abstain.
Raheem abstains. Dolores?
Abstain.
Dolores abstains. Dorit?
No.
Dorit is no. Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine is yes. I have 12 yeses, 3 nos, and 2 abstentions.
Okay, motion passes. Nancy, can you briefly discuss meeting protocols and the role of the parliamentarian?
Yes, no. So the role of the parliamentarian is to keep us on track of the meeting. And in terms of meeting protocols, Laura, how do you want me to do this? I don't know if I don't think we've discussed it, but how much time do you want me to allocate 5 minutes for each item and I'll keep track?
Well, our standing rules, if I'm not mistaken, is 5 minutes for each item unless otherwise marked. And the otherwise marked on this agenda would be de facto the committee chair appointments and the communications committee brand and logo presentation and the treasurer's report have larger lengths of time.
I think that otherwise marked language hasn't been approved, right?
Well,
Those are
in the
new
approval
bylaws.
of this agenda, it was approved. In other words, on the approval of this agenda, communications committee starts after 8:40 and finishes hopefully by 9:15. They had asked for 35 minutes. And again, it's a scramble because of the new law and the not written and clear directive yet from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. There's no way the communications committee's branding presentation will be 5 minutes.
Okay, so you'll let me know. I'll assume 5 minutes and then you'll tell me before a
Sure.
topic if it's going to be longer than that. Okay.
Okay. And the other part of our protocols for those who are new to attending our meetings is simply that we are civil people. We treat each other with respect. The board of Neighborhood Empowerment's, the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners resolution on civility is in our agenda packet tonight, as it is in every governing board meeting. And please do mute yourselves when you're not talking, just because we can hear the background noise sometimes. And please raise your hand to be recognized. If your virtual hand isn't working and you can't get our attention by waving, please send a chat to me. So, well, don't send a chat to everyone. Send a chat to me, or Greg is the co-host right now, to let us know that you're trying to raise your hand and would like to speak on a matter. And that's it. Okay. Any questions? Thank you. So we're now at, finally, public comments and announcements, 1 minute per person. And these are comments, general public comments on any item not on this agenda, but within the purview of United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. I do know we have a few representatives from government departments, and that would be the next item. So this is general public comments. Brittany.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Liu. I'm a neighbor and community organizer with Redeemer Community Partnership. Last night, the Planning and Zoning Committee had their first initial conversation about the plan approval for the Murphy drill site. So I just wanted to say thank you for having that space and allowing RCP to sort of present what we've learned. I've also wanted to share an update with this group. Since the last governing board meeting, there was a set of documents from public records where we learned about radioactive materials that were being utilized on site as part of well testing. This was shared with the committee last night, but just wanted to update this group as well that, you know, learning the proximity of like schools and homes within 1,000 feet of this site, it just seems like having something as harmful as radioactive materials, even in general and routine testing, is just incompatible with community health and safety. So we're going to continue learning and working with UNNC but just wanted to share that with this group. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Brittany. Lewis, good to see you. Your hand is up.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Brittany, I'm going to give you real quick my email address. It's my last name is South, South, and LUIS is the next step, at yahoo.com. I'm very interested in what you're doing regarding the oil drilling in this community. Even though I once in the past, it was every month I would get a check. And I thought that was cool. I never thought about it. But, you know, it's a very devious setup we have here. And so I have always been against it before it became the hip thing to do. But to stay targeted on that is very important. And I will help you as much as I can. At the same time, I have something that I think you would find interesting. So if you give me an email, we can go from there.
Thank you. Chris?
A question for Brittany. Could you identify the radioactive material? That
Chris, I'm very sorry. We can't have, she would not be able to respond to you.
Okay.
If you have a comment, that's okay though.
I just felt that it was important to be specific and rather than allege something, to actually identify the reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other general public comments? Okay, moving on to government agency reports and comments. Council District 10 report, I believe Danielle Mero is here.
Yes, I'm here. So I have a few little updates. My big little project was 2229 Venice. I believe that's Venice in Oxford. There was a vacant lot. I think it was an old auto body shop, not too sure, mechanic shop, that we've been having some issues with squatters going in and kind of wreaking havoc. I know there was a fire there in the building as well. So good news is it is now secure. I believe the graffiti has been removed and it's been boarded up. So that's some positive news. Another issue that I'm currently looking into is 1919 Southwestern. It's I believe it was a former barbecue shop or restaurant. And the lot there is kind of is being utilized by trespassers. So we're working on that. I know the issue with that location was that it was sent to general code when it should have been handled as a different, because there is a building on that lot. The last thing I've been dealing with is we've been having some issues as far as parking enforcement throughout at least the northern half of UNNC, particularly on the east side. And that's something that I'm trying to work on with LADOT as far as enforcing any PPD areas and things like that. So that's just a quick little update from my end and what I've been doing.
Thank you. Danielle, I wanted to really thank you and everyone else who pulled together the meeting of our homelessness liaison committee now 2 weeks ago when, and I know you were very involved with this, when Mark Ridley Thomas came and spoke with the homelessness liaison committee and many other members of the public who were participating. It was really terrific, and I really thank you and everyone else who was involved in creating that meeting for your efforts. But I know, Danielle, you had a big role in it.
Yes, and you're welcome. And I know Tori and Hugh were the ones that I was dealing with, so thank you to them as well.
Right. And of course, we hope the council member will come to many of our meetings, including governing board.
I will. We have, he is on, different NCs are on the list for meetings, and we're trying to
Right.
see if we would go into the office, but we're trying to see if we can change them over to virtual. So we're in the works on that.
He was very good at virtual, just so you know. Okay, Matt Inouye, if I pronounced that correctly, but forgive me if I did not.
No worries.
And so please tell us who you are and who you represent.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Inouye. I represent Congressman Jimmy Gomez, who represents the 34th Congressional District. It's good to see everyone's faces. Hopefully we can see each other face to face in person one day. And a little bit about myself. I'm a new field deputy with the office, little over 2.5 months. So I'm brand new to the role, so please feel free to introduce yourself, and I'll drop my email down below. And just a quick few updates about what the congressman is working on right now. He recently wrapped up 4 days and about 40 hours of markups on the Ways and Means Committee. So he's working really hard right now, and he's trying to get his bills into the Build Back Better Act reconciliation. One bill is HR 4817, which is a really interesting bill called the Affordable EVs for Working Families Act. So that's a really cool concept. It amends, it would basically do its very first tax credit for families who purchase pre-owned electric vehicles. So that's a really cool one. The second one is the Home Energy Savings Act, which amends the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. The next one is the New Home Energy Efficient Act, also amends the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. And then we have the 99.5% Act, which rolls back Trump estate tax cuts. And it also closes various loopholes to ensure the ultra wealthy pay their fair share. So that's self-explanatory. And then we also have the Tribal Healthcare Careers Act, which would basically put aside some funds for Native populations under the Health Profession Opportunity Grant Program. So that one's also very important, as you know, that community is very disproportionately affected by COVID-19. And a little bit right now, I just want to make sure everyone's aware of the child tax credit. If you have children and you filed your 2020, 2019 taxes, you can still get the tax credit. You can get up to, I believe, $300 a month, depending on how many kids you have. And that's pretty much it for my report. We are doing citizenship workshops as well as renters' rights workshops that I hope everyone can attend. So it's good to see everyone, and I hope to work with you all soon.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you. Daniel Park, I see you're here as well. Did you have something to update us with?
Yes.
About?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, and please remind us who you represent.
Yes. Hi, my name is Daniel Park. I'm with Supervisor Holly Mitchell's office, covering the areas bounded by Melrose down to Exposition, and then we go La Cienega all the way to Hoover. So, yeah. All right. So a couple updates. So the COVID numbers compared to last week, our positivity rates have dropped. So it is something to look forward to. But as always, we're asking everyone to stay vigilant, especially with Halloween and Thanksgiving coming up. And with those two events in mind, we have a lot of youth gathering, and there's a lot of indoor events. And so please mask up and vaccinate. We're also, starting today, the county is asking for high-risk indoor areas throughout the county to show proof of vaccination. So starting today, for bars and clubs and lounges, they will be required to have proof of vaccination for their first dose. And by November 4th, it will be their second dose. And this also goes into play with large events. So Dodger games, outdoor music festivals, they will be requiring, regardless, vaccination proof. Moving forward, a couple things by our office. Oh, one more other thing. For folks who are still unvaccinated, especially with booster shots that are available, please visit vaccinatelacounty.com. We have the boosters are available for seniors and for those who are immunocompromised. Onto Metro, the supervisor sits on the Metro board, and one thing we've been trying to move Metro on is creating a feeless fare system. Unfortunately, it did not go the way we had wanted, but we were able to delay it. So fees will be going back up starting in January. In the meantime, we have a pilot program that will offer youth, primarily students in low income, with free bus fare. Currently, right now, they will be doing the outreach and the public awareness campaign. So it's starting in November, that program should be operational. And then finally, another program that we're trying to push out is we have a county park, Jesse Owens. At that facility, one of the programs that we're working on is having more lifeguards trained who live in the neighborhood and the community surrounding it. And so there's a program for youth to get started with the county to become a lifeguard, and it's a career opportunity for youth. I believe the starting pay is $19. We still have classes open. We encourage for everyone to spread the word. Besides that, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Daniel? Okay, Gibson, Nyambura. And I, again, hope I'm pronouncing all names correctly, but I don't know. If there's updates from Dunn, and I put on the agenda, but I wasn't sure if we have anything regarding the code of conduct, digital social media policies, and anything else you are supposed to be updating us on.
Just a couple of things in regards to the social media policy. Just one thing is we're still conducting the information sessions. So we have two more. One will be on October 19th, Tuesday, October 19th at 6:30. And the other one will be being conducted on November 6th at 1 p.m. So we're still conducting the information sessions. We will definitely want to get more input before it goes back to Bonk for any sort of updates in regards to that. The only other thing we are also touching on is the information bias training is going to start getting implemented all across the neighborhood council meetings, all across the neighborhood council process. So there'll be an additional training tab for folks to complete the anti-bias training. That is part of the city's, this came from the city of councils. It was voted by the city council, and so it's going to be throughout the neighborhood councils, city departments, commissions, that will be coming down the pipeline as well. And the bylaw amendment process is still open. You'll be receiving it. You received an what do you call it? The monthly profile dictating.
Could you try again?
Sorry, my Siri just went off thinking I pronounced it something different. Just kind of touching base that April 1st is the deadline for bylaws, and that's what I just want to touch base on. Other than that, I don't think I have any other announcements. Let's see.
I see Greg's hand up.
Oh, sorry, before, one more thing. Also, there was an email that we were having a technical challenge, and so we did a Cornerstone username change. So everybody should have received an email informing you that your username is a little different, asking you to sort of recreate your account with Cornerstone. This is on our back end. We've been having technical issues, and I think this change is definitely something that helps us help fix some of the issues. We do recognize that it's a problem, and we do apologize for the inconvenience. Also, we do have the module 2, the Core Institute training module 2 and 3 are coming. The module 2 will be is being planned for October 28th at 6:30 p.m. It's definitely going to be covering neighborhood council bylaws, hosting virtual public meetings, public comment, and managing meeting disruptions.
So Greg, then Dolores.
Sir Gibson, we received an email for an additional training we were supposed to take do you have knowledge of that or?
Yeah, so
can you remind-
that is the anti-bias training that's coming down. We'll be sending another email about that as well. Just kind of informing you how to complete and this is an addition from the city council. So it's something that will be requiring neighborhood council board members to complete is the anti-bias training.
Okay, do you anticipate the window due date for that?
It will be in November. It will be, I think, sometime in the mid to late November is when we'll be asking everybody to make sure they complete their training.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Dolores? Yep, you're muted.
Gibson, did you say that there was a deadline for bylaws changes?
It's April 1st, 2022.
Okay, thank you.
Also, I just want to touch base. On September 24th, we launched a Listen for Good survey. I was emailed to all neighborhood council board members. We were just asking for your views on how effectively the department engages neighborhood council board members when it comes to deliberation and dialogue. So we have implemented 7 surveys over the past year. And so we do believe that the best way of understanding of how services need to be improved in the neighborhood council system is the service provision, the use of surveys. So please, I'm asking this board to provide input on the Empire Lay listening survey. So you should have received that email. That survey will remain open until end of this month. And we're just asking ourselves, like, we want to continue sort of listening to the board. We want to get feedback. We want to get better in sort of being responsive to our boards, figuring out better strategies on how to move forward, especially if we'll be working virtually. I think on our end, we've definitely been able to conduct a lot of training. Some people don't like it. I recognize that. But I think if we're, especially because we had an influx of new board members who are participating and civically getting engaged, that's why we're conducting as much training as possible. I'm okay with overwhelming, having enough information for stakeholders and neighborhood council board members when it comes to participating on the board. So please fill out your survey, and I would really appreciate your input on it.
So Gibson, is it the survey individually linked, or if I have it, can I send it to all the board members a second time? Does it know who you are? In other words, was it sent individually with some sort of coding for Mary or Tom or Dick, or is it
not this one, not the Listen for Good? No.
Okay, so I can re-forward it
Yes.
to everybody.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Okay, we are moving on to President's report. We are well behind time already, so I'm going to try very hard to catch us up in this segment. So the first item, 7A, is a report from the Redistricting Commission's public hearings, and it's also an administrative update on asking that we ratify our previous position so that regarding the city's ongoing redistricting efforts. So I'm going to share our letter, and then Dolores, have you, I mean, I know I have been monitoring. I think you have too. Did you want to, while I look for the screen share, do you want to say anything about the redistricting hearings? And you can say no, you don't, but I know you've been paying attention. And you're muted. You're muted.
Okay, only that I participated in 2 hearings, and I gave a written response as well as a verbal. But that's it.
Okay, so I'm sharing the screen with the letter that was approved based on the motion that we made in September at the governing board meeting. So basically our motion a month ago was really simple. You can see it in the italics if you can see the screen. UNNC requests that the redistricting commission keep UNNC in one council district and that the district be CD10. So that was the basic motion a month ago. I have attended now these meetings. I had never participated in redistricting before. And it's just very interesting how many ways maps can be changed and changed and changed again. But what happened is right before the last commission meeting, not not the one last night, but the one where they were adopting a map to move forward. At the last minute, a second map was proposed. And that second map, map L, not only didn't keep UNNC in one council district, and that wouldn't have been necessarily 100% required, but the boundary cut UNNC down Gramercy Place. So half of Western Heights and half of Angeles Vista, the east side, were going into Council District 1, along with Harvard Heights and West Adams Heights, Sugar Hill. And the west side of Gramercy in Angeles Vista and Western Heights were going into Council District 10. I'm just dividing down a line that was based on a Los Angeles Times mapping project some years ago that everyone has objected to. So we updated our resolution in terms of this letter to say that the map L does a great disservice to UNNC. The commission rejected that map L and has only moved forward with something they're calling map K 2.5. And they're holding hearings on it last night, this coming Saturday, next Wednesday night, and the following Saturday day. And and Charlie Papp has arrived, by the way, Teresa. This is a letter, it's up in the packet as well. I'm going to stop the share. The question for the board is, can we do an administrative update that basically adopts a further resolution, a community impact statement, which would permit UNNC to keep filing these community impact statements as the maps keep changing. So that's the issue. I think we've gone as far as we possibly can go on the prior motion. I'd be looking for a motion, but this is only not a recommendation yet. I mean, executive committee didn't recommend this. This has been evolving. I see Dorit's hands, and it was in the air for a moment ago. But I'd be looking for a motion, or I can make the motion to permit UNNC to file updated community impact statements and letters as the hearings continue and the redistricting map evolves to still reflect our motion from last September 2nd. But do we, okay, Nancy, can we have conversation? Nancy, can we have discussion before we have a motion?
Yes,
Or
I
do
was
we need-
looking at the standing rules, and we can have 5 minutes of Q&A before a motion.
Okay, so Dorit has her hand up.
I'm against the idea of us having, allowing the governing board or any part of the governing board, the executive committee or any part of the executive committee to keep making, stating that what map UNNC is supporting, because it was a pretty close vote. I think it was like 6-8 or something like that when we voted.
Yeah, so with eight in favor.
I'm actually speaking. It was a pretty close vote when we voted on if we wanted to keep UNNC in one council district, and you're saying you made some changes to the letter even after that. I'm not comfortable with my voice not being heard by saying that I belong to a body that I'm giving free rein to somebody else to say what my voice is. So I'm against this motion or this proposed motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Dorit, the answer is yes. The vote was 8-6, but no, I didn't all by my little lonesome write a letter that wasn't approved, just to be clear. And I'm bringing this back to the board because I think we have gone as far as we can. It may not need to go any farther, but as far as we could without bringing it back to the board. So it doesn't mean we need to pass a new motion. It may be that we still, the motion we passed in September, 8 in favor, 6 opposed, still stands. Is there anybody else who has comment, discussion, or a motion? Teresa.
Thank you, Laura. I just really want to understand what Dorit is saying. Yes, I know the initial vote was 8-6, but just to be clear, is Dorit saying she does, no matter what happens with the redistricting, K 2.5 or any other map outline they can come up with, she does not want us to submit any further letters in support of that? Is that what you're saying, Dorit?
If I'm being asked a question, I'm going to say that I would love us to support a letter if the board gets to vote on that letter. I don't want to, my understanding from what is being said here, and I could be misunderstanding, I'm not the smartest person in the world, is that we're talking now about allowing the executive committee or a part of the executive committee to keep supporting new, whatever changes are made, because this thing is a running train. There's maps being thrown this way, that way, not us a running train, I mean the redistricting. And I really don't want this board to support a map without, or a new map, or support a letter without us being, as a board, able to vote on it. And if I'm in the minority here, I'm completely cool with that. I just needed to express myself.
Okay, we now have hands. We have Raheem, then Chris, then Dolores. And remember, I promised we would try and move this fast to catch up on our time. But this is not unimportant. It's really important. Raheem.
Teresa, do you have the language of the motion that did get approved in September?
Oh, I was going to say, yes, I do, but it's going to take me a second to find it.
Yeah, well,
it's right. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you guys. It's right here. If you look on this, if the screen's still up?
No.
Screen was never up.
Okay, the language is UNNC requests that the redistricting commission keep UNNC in one council district and that the district be CD10. It was that simple.
So then I guess, so my question then, I'm not sure what we're having to vote on again. If that was a motion that passed, what are we talking about now?
I was just concerned. I mean, I'm in a way, I'm sharing Dorit's concern. I was concerned that because these maps keep changing and at one point they got really out of line to our motion, would it make sense administratively to re-adopt it? Essentially, not change the motion, but re-adopt it. But this is getting kind of complicated.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to be complicated. I think as long as any comments that are entered on behalf of UNNC stick to that position, then I'm not sure what to reauthorize.
Okay. Chris had her hand up, then Dolores. I put the share back up on the screen, which will make it difficult for me to see raised hands.
There's 20 seconds left on Q&A, just FYI.
Okay, do I have the floor? I just want to reinforce what Raheem just pointed out. If the motion passed, as long as any further communication just reinforces the motion that passed, the simple language that's on the letter in front of us, I don't see an objection to continuing to carry that message. I don't see why we need to re-vote a motion. I mean, the motion passed. If we're going to present that, no matter how many times, that's what we should present. Thank you.
Okay, and then Dolores, and I'm guessing Nancy, we're at 5 minutes.
I took my hand.
Yes, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, so I think in general, it sounds like we don't need a motion. We should move on. Yes, right. Okay, fine. Item 7B, declare UNNC governing board seat vacant due to absenteeism of board member. On advice from the city attorney, we don't put the person's name on the public agenda to help avoid public shaming. But we have to discuss the person's name here in the meeting. So per Article 5 of UNNC's bylaws, Section 7, absences, a board member may be removed due to absenteeism of more than 3 unexcused absences from regular board meetings. A board member who has been absent for more than 3 consecutive board meetings will be asked to appear before the board, and a 2/3 vote is required for removal of the errant board member. The effective position is Region 1 Resident Representative, Seat 2, Group A 2023, and the individual is Isaac Diaz, who it's entirely possible newer board members have never met since he has not attended a meeting. Greg?
Didn't we just say? Oh, never
He
mind,
is,
never mind.
he
That
is
was C.
currently suspended. He is
Right.
also suspended for since he had not taken his training, in particular, the code of conduct. So his code of conduct elapsed on July 19. This board is not able to remove a board member for lack of training. Dunn has that authority. Our authority is on absences.
So we
Dorit,
took
then,
C.
oh, I'm
Wait a minute,
sorry,
wasn't
Greg, you're
finished.
still talking.
Yeah, yeah, happens a lot. We removed item 7C from the agenda, correct?
I can't hear you.
We removed item 7C from the agenda, but we kept 7B on the agenda, correct? Okay.
Greg, we removed 7C, excuse me,
Yes.
Laura, just because that person did not meet all the requirements to be on the
Understand.
agenda
Yes,
in the first place.
right. And Isaac,
This is
it's
7B.
yeah, I'm with you now. So 7B is because of attendance, but we're not touching the training requirements, correct?
Correct.
All right, very good.
Correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, Dorit, then Dolores.
I'm pretty sure this has been done, but I want it to be publicly said. Has anyone from the executive committee reached out to Isaac to say, hey, what's going on, or just try and make communication?
Yes, Dolores, may I respond to that? Respond to that?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have emailed, called, sent texts to Isaac multiple times. With
And
Thank you. I just wanted
Dolores.
to be on the record.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I sent him a formal letter from UNNC and asking him to appear before the last executive committee meeting, and there was no response. He did not respond to the email and he did not appear. But I do have a question because I misunderstood Gibson, because when I asked about today's meeting, whether he should be marked as absent, and he said no, shouldn't be marked as absent, he should be marked as suspended. So if he is marked as suspended and not absent, then he's not meeting the criteria either, is he?
No,
Well, the reason for the suspension, Dolores, to mark him that, is if he arrived halfway through tonight, he still would not count for quorum because he's been suspended by Dunn. So, I mean, we have two overlapping issues going on right now. But, you know, one is that he's suspended by Dunn for his training. And the other is that executive committee has brought forth a recommendation to the board for a board removal. Based on the absenteeism. So he wouldn't, if he were here, he couldn't vote for himself because he's not at the moment on the board, but the suspension is for 30 days. If he were to take his training tomorrow, he'd be unsuspended.
All right, so he has missed August meeting, and he has missed September's meeting, and he's missed the meeting this evening. So was there a meeting? Hold on, Laura, please. Was there a meeting that he missed prior to August? Because
he missed five meetings prior to August.
Okay, all right.
Chris Carlson's hand is up.
Madam,
Paula, you have your hand up.
am I,
Yeah,
Madam
I
Chair?
just,
Okay, so-
I wanted to comment that I remember when Isaac was going to run for the seat and he had overcome a serious illness. And I remember asking him, would he be able to meet this obligation? And he said yes. He almost seemed a little offended that I asked the question. So I just want to caution or comment, there were some health issues before he joined the board. I'm sorry he hasn't responded, so we don't know, but I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
And Chris?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we vote to remove Isaac for excessive absenteeism.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second,
Is that Greg?
yes.
Are you ready for me to take the vote?
Let me, let me just post this to the chat. And then, yes, please.
John Arnold?
I think John's,
Okay. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie's yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy's yes. Greg?
Yes.
Greg is yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris is yes. Teresa is yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is yes. Paula?
No.
Paula is no. Laura?
yes.
Laura is yes. Carlos?
Yes.
Carlos is yes. Paul?
Yes.
Paul is yes. Charlie?
No.
Charlie is no. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor is yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem is yes. Dolores?
Yes.
Dolores is yes. Dorit?
Sadly, yes.
Dorit is yes. Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine is yes.
I'm sorry, what was John's vote? John Arnold?
John-
John
John is
John
not
has
here.
left the room.
Okay.
And that is 15 yes and 2 no's.
Okay, motion passes. Taking us to our next item.
Wait. Question, do the board send him a letter indicating that?
Ooh,
Good.
I guess I need to send him a sad, thank you for your service. Hope you're feeling better. But Gibson, are you still here with us?
Laura, can that be discussed offline?
No. I want to ask Gibson a quick question.
Yes, I'm still here.
Since he's not responded to any of our outreach, can the department help us with a home address so we can send him that letter, a letter to his home as well? And
I'll double check.
it's just a request. You can't answer yes or no at the moment because you don't know. But that's
let me double
my
check.
on the record request.
Mhm. I'll double check on it and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So that leads us quickly to our next item, D, board seat vacancies. We actually have 4 vacancies. We've had 3 resignations, and then we just also did a board removal. So let me run through this. Hugh Moore, Harvard Heights, has resigned. Carla Rowley, who would be Area 1 representative, has resigned. We have that seat vacant. Isaac was also an Area 1 representative, and so Area 1 is without representation. And Hugo Rodriguez has resigned. Sent Dolores and I a letter tonight. So he is an at-large rep. So what I will do tomorrow morning is send out, UNNC is seeking candidates, and we'll specify the 4 seats on an e-blast. And Raheem, I don't know if we can get that up onto the website, but maybe we can do some sort of social media. And we'll interview candidates at executive committee later this month on Tuesday, October 19. So that is our normal process. And then the executive board will recommend 1 or more people to governing board for the November 4th meeting to discuss and vote to fill the vacancies, assuming we have candidates, which I hope we do. So for November 4th, I just want to ask the board to please, just like tonight, please mark your calendar now and try to be here, because we'll have trouble getting quorum until we're able to do those appointments onto the board. So, and Mr. South, I saw your comment. I think we all feel awful that we have to do this. But on the other hand, the region he represents has not been represented at this board. And that's also a problem. So I will kindly ask Isaac, what, in my communication, to remain involved and use his leadership skills in the areas that he's able to do so. But it's clear he's been unable to attend our board meetings and represent the stakeholders who elected him. Greg?
Madam President, I'm concerned if the 7th, you said that's our normal practice of just advertising tomorrow, and then we will interview candidates on the 19th. I'm wondering if that 2 weeks is sufficient time for the word to get out in the community, a 2-week time frame.
Well, if it's not, we go without filling the vacancies till December. So that is the pleasure of the board. If the board does not wish me to set October 19th for the interviews, I mean, I still should send it out tomorrow. But if the board wants a long period and we are all committed to making sure we show up at the next board meeting, because I also we need to have quorum. That's the issue for me. So that is the pleasure of the board. I see hands. Raheem?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that we should advertise it now and see whoever we get at the next board meeting. There's a good chance we won't get all 4, but if we can get 1 board seat filled, that's better than none. I think we do it as we've done it in the past, is get as many as we can. And just one quick point of order. If we have a parliamentarian, I think we should all try to not bulldoze said parliamentarian when she's trying to give advice or points of order. She was just asking Laura if your conversation with Gibson could be offline, which it totally could have. But you kind of ignored her. I think we all need to really make a pointed order, to really pay attention to our parliamentarians so that we can get through things faster and easier and listen to her. So
Thank you, Raheem. In this particular case, I wanted it on the record that I had made an official request for the address, and that couldn't have been done behind the scenes. So that's my explanation.
Emails are official records.
If I was rude to Nancy, I apologize.
Emails are official records as well, Laura. There's lots of ways to get things on an official record, and email is another way.
All right, Teresa.
Thank you. I happen to agree with Raheem. We have a parliamentarian, and she says it's time to move on, then we move on. Take it offline. And that applies to all of us. Each and every single one of us need to show her the respect due to her position. Thank you.
All right. The next item on this agenda, do we have a board member training report update? And I would urge us to do this quickly if we can.
Yes, we have an update. I would like to thank Raheem for sending me his certificate for the ethics training. He got that completed. Congratulations, Raheem.
I did it.
Booyah. And the only person that we have left to get updated is Carlos Couric. I checked my email, I haven't gotten anything from him. So Carlos, if you have taken the ethics exam, can you please send me a copy of your certificate?
Ms. Spears, I'm working on that right away.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's it, Laura.
Thank you.
Was that
okay?
Fast?
That absolutely fast enough. Thank you so much. And so the next item is ongoing, continued from previous meeting, committee chair appointments, and not all of them, but the ones that we had not yet appointed. And this may be continuing to be ongoing. But again, let's see how quickly we can go through this. So I've got the screen shared. Again, this whole list of committees, alliances and liaisons has been in the packet. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly. We have a vacancy for the Community Impact Statement Committee Chair. Does anyone want to volunteer themselves as the chair of Community Impact Statements? And Teresa.
No, I don't, but I'd like to know if Dorit would like to do that. I know she's written several CIS in the past, and I would just like to know if she'd be interested in doing that.
Thank you, Teresa. I don't know how to use Google Docs or most computer programs, but I'm currently taking a class. So once I pass this class in January, I hope, I will happily share that committee if no one else wants to do it.
Okay. And as Doricha said, does anyone else want to do it? Oh, that was Lizzie's clapping, not raising her hand, right? Okay. All right. So let's all remember what Dorit said. Thank you so much. Subcommittee on Oil and Gas Reform. It's a subcommittee of the Planning and Zoning Committee. I do know that the people who would like to be the co-chairs are present. Chris is raising her hand.
To just express my desire to continue as co-chair with Steve Peckman.
And Steve is raising his hand. But you may need to introduce yourself, Steve, because we have new
Yes.
people.
Yeah, so my name is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Steve Peckman. I've been a resident of Jefferson Park about 16 years now. And for the past 15 years, I've been a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee and participate quite a bit. And as part of that, close to a decade ago, I took a leadership role in the community regarding oil and gas at the Murphy drill site on Adams. I was instrumental in ensuring that the vendor at the site did not install a gas burner that would have polluted the neighborhood. And I've been intimately involved with CD10 on negotiations with the vendors over this period of time. I've been the co-chair of the subcommittee for a while and just found out yesterday I was no longer co-chair, and I am happy to volunteer again and team up with Chris.
So I see there's some other hands because I see a thing that says 2 participants have raised their hands, but I'm not sure. Oh, Teresa.
Yes, Steve, it's not that you were not the co-chair. It's that the board wanted to allow people to come in and self-nominate. We want to know who wants to chair these committees. So it's nothing personal against you. My question to you, Laura, is this committee going to have 2 co-chairs, 2 equal co-chairs, Chris and Steve? Is that the?
Well, that's how it had been operating like that for the last decade. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
If that's I mean, in other words, usually one person takes a lead, but they may do it within their phone conversations.
Okay.
But I do want to ask, was there anybody else interested in this task? It shouldn't be well, it'd be lovely if it could be automatic, but I just don't want to preclude anybody else if there was anyone else. I don't think there is. Okay, so Teresa, can you remind me, did we vote on these things individually?
Yes, we did, but I think Dolores has her hand up.
Oh, Dolores. Thank you.
I thought I had taken it down, but since I'm talking now, I am at 100% support of Mr. Peckman being co-chair on this committee. Him and Michael Salmon had done enormous amount of research and work on the oil issues, and to the point where the city hired or appointed a petroleum czar administrator to oversee these oil sites, although he's gone now. But it was due to their hard work that the city did that. And I commend him, and thank God he's still gonna work on that. Thank you, Steve.
All right.
So I think we can do it by raise of hands, Laura, but it's only, we can't see it while you're sharing the screen.
Correct. So I can stop the share and then reshare after we do this, because I also can't even do a motion in the chat with the screen. So so
I don't know if we did a motion. I just think we did it, you know, is
we
everybody
didn't do
in
a
favor?
BAC, but let's do a motion
okay.
to point. Okay, and for ease, Laura moves, who seconds?
I'll
Anyone?
second. I will second.
A lot of people seconded, but I'm putting Teresa because that's who I heard recognize the voice. Sorry. Okay, that's, sorry to the person who I just skipped over. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, and Teresa, you want us just to do raised hands?
I think that would be sufficient.
Okay, so you can raise it virtually, board members, or in real life. Well, real virtual life. Okay.
I have 15.
Chris is raising her hand in on the screen. Did you catch her?
Okay, that's 16.
Thank you.
And that's all. And so the only person who's not voting that we can see is Sarah.
Yes, because I don't see Sarah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but
All right.
that's
So
fine.
16 in favor.
Yes.
Laura, that whole process took about 7 minutes, so I don't know how many more there.
Well, I don't either. It depends who's going to raise their hand and say, I want to be appointed. So, oh, but Nancy, it's the next one would be you. So do we need a motion to extend any time? I had on the agenda a thought process of 15 minutes for both the training report and the committee chairs appointments. So, and we're at 7. Is 10 enough, or do we need, I mean, do we need to vote, Nancy, to extend the time?
What I was gonna do, well, it's 7 minutes without counting the training report. I put 5
Yeah.
minutes for the training report and then 5 minutes for this committee. I was gonna add 10 total because it's 5 Q&A and 5 presentation, and it's kind of intermixed for the voting for the committee appointments.
Okay.
So I'll do
Thank you.
another 5 and then decide after.
And then, okay, and we may get through this by then. So I'm going to reshare the screen. Okay, Economic Development Committee is next. And as we left it last month, Nancy, you had volunteered to be the chair of the Economic Development Committee. Does that still stand?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to do that.
Okay, so
we have 3 hands raised right now, Laura.
yes, are these raised hands or still voting hands? Lizzie, Greg,
and
well,
Paula.
Okay, so Greg's talking and his hand, nope, hands down. Paula.
Her hand is down now too.
Okay, Chris, did you want to also continue as a co-chair of Economic Development Committee or the chair?
I would love to see if there's some new people that would like to step into that. I'm happy to continue working on the committee, but there is a great need for a lot of attention on the oil issue. So I would like to give that the highest priority. Hugo was great in that.
No, Hugo has said that he is able to do budget, but not able to do economic development.
Okay, so
we don't have a chair is what I'm trying to say.
So if there's interest, I encourage people, and I will certainly participate and help if someone will step up.
Okay, we don't have one, so can we go to the next
Let's
one,
move
Laura?
on.
Okay.
Communications Committee, Raheem was appointed last month as co-chair. Gabby, if she's still here, has expressed interest. Gabby, are you still here? She was here.
Oh my God, Gabby, come on.
It's okay. We can come back to it, Laura, because
We'll
we know
come
she'll
back.
be
We'll
here
come
for her
back to it. Is Elizabeth still here? Elizabeth Fenner was here as well for environmental. Okay, and so Elizabeth, are you raising your hand to continue as a chair for environmental committee, noting that you also will need some more help? Is that correct? But can you introduce, so there's people here who might not know who you are. Can you just
Hi,
say,
everybody. Okay. Hi. So I'm a resident of 11 or 12 years now, since 2009. And I live in West Adams Avenues, and I have been a board member. So it warms my heart to see everybody and the parliamentarian and everything. I've always been about trees and nature and quality of life. So I'm happy to step up for this. I feel inadequate. There's lots to do. There's always so very much to do. I really appreciate Laura being at all of our meetings. I appreciate Teresa being at all of our meetings. And then and Lizzie has come too, keeping this going. We hope to expand from trees after this, but we want to complete some of the tree projects. But
yep. So I can keep stopping the share and doing the motion, but do we need if Teresa, you're taking good minutes, we probably don't need this motion in the chat, right?
No, but we do need a show of hands, and we can't.
Yes,
see
we
that
do.
now.
So we need a motion. So I move to appoint Elizabeth Fenner as the chair, continuing chair of the Environmental Committee, and we need a second.
I second this, Paul.
Second.
Okay, I heard Paula, I
Paula.
heard Greg, and
No,
I see
Paula.
Chris was waving her hand. So
Yes.
any
I
one
think
of them
Paula-
can be the
Paula
second.
Southern.
Paula.
Paula.
Yes, Paula Southern.
Great.
Okay, can we see a show of hands?
And mine's going up in the air in the screen, Teresa, because I can't find the reactions button right now.
But can you stop sharing so we can see the hands, Laura?
Oh, yes,
Oh, there it
sorry.
is. Okay.
And
wow, 20, I'm impressed. 23 on the call. That's awesome.
I have 15, 16. Thank you. I have
Okay.
16 hands.
thank you, and I'm going to reshare. So Raheem, I don't know if you're trying to get Gabby back into the room, but I'm moving on. Does anybody wish to volunteer themselves to be the chair of the Jefferson Park Community Safety Committee? That chair is vacant.
I think we need a co-chair. Sorry, if we're going in order, Laura, a co-chair for the homeless.
Yes, but I think Hugh Moore, who's not here tonight, has already
Oh, he's
expressed
gonna
interest in
continue to do that.
continuing,
Oh,
but he
okay.
needs to come back to a meeting to do that. I'm sorry.
I forgot. I thought since he resigned that, but never mind.
No, he did not resign from the committee leadership. And he specifically wrote that he did not, but he still has to be here to get reappointed.
We have several hands up for Jefferson Park.
No, well, like I can't go back right now. My hand should go down, but I can't do it. I can't go back and forth. So forget my hand. And anybody for Jefferson Park? No. All right, moving on. These are the committees that don't have anybody. Public safety, anybody like to do it?
We're at 10 minutes for this item.
Okay.
I see hands up. I'm not sure what that means.
And I'd
right,
like to make a point of order, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion that we extend this by 5 more minutes so we can continue and finish this segment.
Sure. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and I'm taking my hand down. Yeah, Nancy, are we able to do this by raised hands in the virtual?
I would hope so. I don't know. Should
Okay,
we
let's
confirm?
everybody raise their hands, please.
But Dorit's hand was already up.
Oh.
Was that a leftover?
I don't know.
It was left over, but I re-raised it for this vote.
Okay.
So people are please vote. At the
12
moment, we're
raised
looking.
hands.
Yes, there's a lot of them.
And Gabby's back if you want to vote to confirm her.
Yeah.
whatever.
So
After as long as we just voted to extend, then I'm going back to that on the screen share.
Okay, we have 13 hands, so we've extended
Yep.
by 5 minutes. Thank you, Nancy.
I'll start the
Okay.
clock.
Thank you. Communications Committee, Gabby. Oh, okay, so I've left my hand up again. I'm so sorry. Gabby, are you willing to serve as co-chair of the Communications Committee?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do we need to hear from her or shall we just vote?
Let's vote.
Let's vote.
Okay. So I'm leaving my hand up. I move to appoint Gabby as co-chair of communications. Is there a second? I see we have voting going on, but is there a second?
Who is the
Yes.
second, please?
Paula, second.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you. Okay, so people are voting.
I have 11. Okay. 12. Okay, 13.
And Chris has her hand up.
16.
Thank you. Okay. So moving again, public, and I'm sorry, my hand is still up. I keep forgetting to undo it. Committees not currently meeting. There are no recent chairs. Does anyone wish to put themselves up for Public Safety Committee?
I'm sorry, did we not have anybody for Jefferson Park Community?
We
Safety?
did not have anyone for Jefferson Park Committee.
Okay.
Community Safety Committee. Public Safety Committee, and ignore my hand, I'm so sorry. Anybody for Public Safety?
Charlie's hand is up.
Charlie's hand is up. Charlie.
Sorry, I just forgot to lower it. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Public Works Committee. Moving on. Is anybody interested in being the chair of a youth committee? Next one, Bylaws Committee. As we heard tonight, Dunn has established a period of time that comes and goes from year to year. But we're in a current cycle where we could recommend changes to our bylaws. That ends on April 1st. Is anybody interested in chairing a bylaws committee? Moving on. So budget representatives, now these are not expiring positions. The alliance positions and the, what am I trying to say? Representatives and alliances positions do not expire annually. So Hugo has requested that he remain a budget rep, and he's been elected a budget advocate for South LA. Equally important, the chair of the citywide budget advocates has requested of us that we retain him in that position, but he's doing an excellent job. So it wasn't really up for tonight, but we can appoint a second budget rep. I'm willing to hear alternative discussion, but I'd rather us move forward. If somebody wants to be a budget rep, they can raise their hand or announce themselves, since I can't see hands. Chris?
Could you just give a 1-sentence summary of what that position entails?
It's a huge job. The budget advocates meet with every city department throughout the year, and they work with the mayor's office, and they come up with a huge, like 100 to 200 page document suggesting budget things for the mayor to consider to be adding into his budget. So they interview the department heads of every single department in the city. They have meetings. I don't think it's interview. They come up, I mean, it's a major task. The budget reps meet quarterly. One of the things they do is elect the budget advocates, but they also should be representing, the budget reps should be asking UNNC every once in a while, what do we want to see in the budget? And they should be making reports back to us as to what's happening in the budget. Yes, Teresa?
We're going to run out of 5 minutes over our 5-minute limit. So can we just get to the next one? Chris, are you interested in this?
I'm going to think about it, but not, I just want to research it a little more. Thank you.
Okay. I'm losing one. Oh, here we go. So plan check NC, that the representative position is vacant. I mean, it seems silly. I actually go to all of them, but I don't vote. Would you guys like me to be more official and be the rep from UNNC? I would accept that, but I don't have.
Are you self-nominating?
I'm
Laura?
self-nominating, but they listen to me anyway. I'm one of the founders of the whole thing. So they don't seem to recognize that I haven't been voted in. But yeah, sure, my hand's up because I keep forgetting to take it down.
Good. Let's vote it in.
Okay, I'm stopping the share. If that's okay, I don't think I can make the motion, however.
Nancy moves to elect Laura to serve on the plan check committee.
A second.
Who was that?
Chris.
Okay, thank you.
And so now we can vote. And this time I'll remember to take my hand down after. Thank you.
I have 12.
Okay.
We have 12 votes.
Okay.
Okay. So the
how many
extra 5 minutes are up.
Can we please?
We do have one more person who's reached out to me to be appointed to one of these.
Okay.
And that if this is still the LGBTQ plus Alliance, Raheem, did you still want to be appointed to that?
Yep.
Okay, and we could have two. Does anybody else wish to be appointed to that?
I move that we elect Raheem Dawson to serve on this alliance.
Nancy second.
Oh, Nancy second. And let's vote, please.
$14.
Okay. Okay. The next item, has John Arnold returned? Okay, so you're going to keep hearing my voice. Sorry. Planning and zoning. I will tell you up front, Laura, am recused from 10B.
Yeah, John asked me to do it if he's not here.
Okay, fine, perfect. Because I would say John's not here. And I'm going to lower my hand, but 10A I am not. So this is another one of these administrative updates. We, as you know, last September 2nd, we voted to approve our, in concept, although it was quite detailed, the housing element comment letter, but it was a draft, concept draft. And we referred it to both the Planning and Zoning Committee itself on the 15th of September to make it more complete of a letter and then send it on to Executive Committee for the final approval, which was done on September 21st. And the letter was submitted on September 22nd. This is scheduled for Planning Commission on October 14. And the letter has already been submitted, but in order for UNNC to get its 2 or 3 minutes of neighborhood council comment time, we need to now adopt a motion that basically ratifies our position or our letter and adopt a further resolution and CIS that to permit us to file a community impact statement adopting this position. And so this is a letter, it's in the packet. It ended up being 19 pages, but it's the same material that we've been discussing, you know, in quite great detail for a long, you know, throughout September. So I don't know if there's no way you're going to be able to read 19 pages here tonight, but I think this has been well shared. Up to you guys. Do we need to go slowly through the letter or?
No.
No?
No, I think we could just vote.
Yes,
Mhm.
this
Okay.
is the exact same letter that we've already voted on. We just have to
Correct.
present it as a CIS, correct?
Correct. So I'm
Okay.
gonna, if you don't mind though, this one I'm gonna type or copy paste a motion. So, and then I am going to have to leave the room. So, um, okay, so the motion is made essentially by me on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Committee because we voted for this. It does need a second.
I'll second it, Dorit.
And I have to take the roll on this, Laura.
Absolutely.
Okay. John is not here. Lizzie?
Yes,
Yes.
if everyone could unmute.
Yes, thank you. Lizzie is a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy's yes. Greg?
Yes.
Greg is yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris is yes. Teresa is a yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula's yes. Laura?
Yes.
Laura's yes. Carlos?
Yes.
Carlos, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem is yes. Dolores? Dolores? Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit is a yes. Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's yes. Dolores, are you still here?
She seems to have
Okay.
stepped out of video anyway.
Okay, so that motion passes.
Okay, so on item 10B,
Okay, I have it from here, Laura. Thank you.
no, I have to explain why I'm leaving.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I am recused from any activity on this item. I live at 1818 South Gramercy Place. It's well within 500 feet of the subject property. And I also have a potential conflict due to my advocacy on regarding the proposed project. So as a resident who lives nearby. So I'm going to leave the room and I hope that someone will telephone or text me to come back when you are done because Teresa will explain why that's really important.
Okay, so this is a document, just like the other one that we just voted on, that has already been sent out by Dolores and John. And now it needs a CIS statement to go with it. So I'd like to make the motion that we ratify this document. And I need a second.
I second Chris Carlson.
Thank you, Chris. And now I'll take the vote. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie's a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's a yes. Nancy? Nancy?
Yes.
Greg? Oh, Nancy's a yes. Greg?
Yes.
Greg's a yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris a yes. Teresa's a yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula's a yes. Laura's ineligible. Carlos?
Yes.
Carlos is a yes. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's a yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem's a yes. Dolores? Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit's a yes. Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's a yes. The motion passes.
I'll text Laura.
I'm calling her now.
Thank you.
She's on her way back.
Thank you. Okay, Executive Committee, Dolores.
What?
Okay, you're up. Executive Committee. But I can do screen shares, but do you want to run this section?
Can you go ahead, Laura? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm starving. I had to get something to eat.
Okay, that's fine. The first item is funding priorities, discussion and possible action, and that actually is Greg, and we have 5 minutes.
Alrighty then. Hold on, let me find the document. I will share the same. Okay, can everyone see this? Yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this concept is just asking the team members of the board to give some thought to how if we want to have a focus for the funds that we have some discretion on how we will use them. We know that we have to set aside money for operational things such as the website, but we also have the ability to decide, how we will award money to different organizations. And the thinking is that perhaps we should develop a mindset of having a theme that we focus on by having just a mindset of just responding to whoever gets in front of us first. So with this, we're developing a survey, and this is just the initial document that we want to send out to each of you for you to decide if you think that any of these areas, these are just perhaps examples, if any of these areas should be our focus area for our discretionary funds. So in this example that we have here, we have, focusing our attention on webpage and social media. And then the focus on that would be updating our webpage and Facebook boosts. Then the next one could be other forms of outreach, either mailers or letters or flyers. And that would be just part of our outreach effort for this year. Another focus can be on trees, green space, because we did have a year where last year, going into this year, focus on trees and green space. And then we have our practice that we had over the years of just supporting organizations that come in front of us. Basically, since whoever got in front of us first, we supported. And then the other area that's, I will say it's kind of near and dear to my heart is like supporting local school projects. But to me, that has a double purpose, because if we reach out to the schools, then we're reaching out to the public, to the community members that perhaps can be on our board also. So I want to send this out to everyone and then just get your thoughts on it, and then just give I will also send out our current budget so you can see the different, maybe just a condensed version so you can see the different categories of where we're spending money. Any questions? I think that was within my time limit.
Yeah, Greg, I only have one question. If you're asking us to rank it, but we had other suggestions, do we in effect throw in another suggestion, put it as number 1 perhaps, and then rank the rest in that order?
Sure. Yeah, because that column of ranking still comes down. If you say,
Okay.
I want to buy a well, then you can say buying wells. That's my number 1 priority. So,
Okay.
Yeah, this is, again, I just wanted to prime the pump a little bit. And by no means are they the only thing. So I think Chris, your hand was, I don't know who answered that, but I see Chris. You muted, Chris.
Yeah. I think that as we look at our budget year to year, one of the things that we're facing is a very limited amount of funds. And I think, the fact that we have neighborhood grants and we have community organizations that come before us, I think it behooves us at the very beginning of our annual budget year to look at what percentage of our total budget we have that could go in that direction, and that we actually set a maximum amount, that we look at most of our, we don't have big money, so a lot of our efforts most effectively can be seed monies to help organizations get that first step to build a base to get additional funding. And that each annual budget cycle, we should set a maximum grant, say $500, and that we have then X number of grants, and then we set a window to which, and we announce it, that any organizations can apply, so people have a very equitable opportunity to participate in whatever funding we have available in that budget cycle. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Chris. Dorit?
First off, loved everything Chris said. So second, what she just said. And my next question, when do you need this back by? And also, I really, really do love this.
I think a minimum of 2-week window would be sufficient for, because it's just to the board members. So if I sent it out tonight or tomorrow morning, then if we could have it back, I guess by the next executive board, I guess by the 17th, 19th. So I can do a summary.
Yeah, Greg, if you're going to do a summary, we should have it back by the 17th, because the summary should be up in the agenda packet.
Yeah, by the 17th. Would that work for everyone? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like 2 minutes to like check.
Yes.
So when on the email you're going to send us, I'm sorry to be a nitpicker. The email you're going to send us, you're going to say, have it back to me by blank date, right?
I will say the 17th.
Thank you.
And so the documents will be this document. I can send the complete budget or just a summary of the budget, so you know the different categories. And then just all right, this is what this is, and this is why we're doing this. Okay. I'll get that out to you tomorrow. Well, let me say Saturday. I'll get it out to you by Saturday. Well, mess it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Dolores, do you want me to continue? Okay.
So
I'm going to continue. That's what I'm going to do. So the next item is a funding request from our UNNC Communications Committee for $150 for just our ongoing Instagram and Facebook posts. And I'm looking to make sure I'm getting the right one up. Here we go. This again has been is in the packet. This is the request. Can you all see it? And
Yes.
this is recommended by the executive committee. So the motion for us tonight is moved by Teresa, but we need a second from someone not on the executive committee.
Raheem, I'll second.
And who was that?
That was
Raheem.
Dawson.
Perfect. So it's been stopping the share. Moved. So when I'm writing moved by executive Teresa Masonette, seconded by Raheem. When committees do make a motion, it is moved by the committee and a person representing the committee.
Madam President, I have some organizational questions for this as we do this.
Okay.
Well, Paul, are you typing up the BAC for the funding, or Teresa, are you doing it? That's one.
This
Okay,
should be.
I'm
a
doing it right
BAC
now, and then I'm going to get with
Teresa's
Paul
doing.
tonight or the first thing in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
So we can take the vote now. Lizzie, this is a motion to fund the communications team Facebook and Instagram for $150. Facebook and Instagram posts for $150. Lizzie?
yes.
Lizzie's a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's a yes. Nancy? Nancy? Greg?
Yes.
Greg is a yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris is a yes. Teresa's a yes. Dennis?
Yeah.
Dennis is a yes. Paula? Laura?
Yes.
Laura's a yes. Carlos?
Ineligible.
Oh, okay. Paul? Paul? I think you're on mute,
Yes.
Paul. Paul is a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's a yes. Raheem?
Yes, and I'm so eligible.
Dolores?
Yes.
Dolores is a yes. Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit's a yes. And Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's a yes. Is Nancy back? No? Okay, the motion passes.
And Teresa, could you do a check? Did Paula vote?
Paula. Oh, Paula Southern. No, Paula didn't answer. Paula, are you back?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I've just shared the next item. Funding request, UNNC Outreach Committee has made a request for up to $500 for photocopying for the remainder of the fiscal year, not tied to a specific project. This also was moved forward by executive committee, moved by Teresa Masonette. We need a second from anyone who's not on the executive committee.
I second Lizzie.
Okay. So I'm stopping the share.
Greg has his hand up.
Okay, I can't. Okay. Greg?
Yeah, I just wanted to share with the board at large is that when we do the budget, money has been set aside for some of these areas that we're talking about. So this is not a reallocation of funds per se, but it's more of just saying, now that the funds have been placed in the budget, now we're going to actually execute this. So it's a better way of keeping track of our money. Money is put in the budget, and now we're about to execute it. And with this, we have the documentation to say that we formally asked for those funds. So that was it.
Okay, so the motion is for the outreach committee for $500 for photocopying through the rest of the fiscal year. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie's a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's a yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Greg? Oh, Nancy, you're back?
Yeah.
Okay, Nancy's a yes.
I'm back.
Greg? Okay,
Yes.
Greg? Greg's a yes. Chris?
I'm back. I had to go to the restroom. Yes.
Okay, Chris is
TMI,
back.
TMI.
Teresa's a yes.
TMI.
TMI.
Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula? Paula. Okay, Laura?
Yes.
Laura's a yes. Carlos?
Ineligible.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Carlos. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem's a yes. Dolores?
Yes.
Dolores a yes. Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit's a yes. And Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's a yes. Motion
And
passes.
Teresa, Paula has returned.
Okay. Paula, do you need me to read the motion again for you?
Yeah, I missed all of it.
Okay, this is a motion for $500 for the outreach committee for photocopying for the rest of the fiscal year.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and Paula's a yes.
Okay. So I am sharing the screen again on the funding request D, UNNC Office Administration to purchase a hard drive data storage. I may have said this wrong, for $110.24. And I am so sorry, looking for the thing to post. Here we go. And here we are. Teresa, I don't remember who made the motion on this at executive, so anyone from executive may make this motion. I think Greg,
I'll make
if
the
he would
motion.
like to.
Sure, I'll make the motion. Make the motion for, was it $110?
And
Yes.
24 cents.
And 24 cents to pay for the portable hard drive.
Okay, and
We'll
just,
reimburse Teresa for.
no,
for-
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
that's
First,
right.
we're authorizing the purchase. This is the authorization to purchase a remote hard drive.
Right.
So I'm going to write that in the chat, but you can start the BAC.
Well, we need a
You made the
second.
motion. I'm sorry, who seconds?
I'll
Does
second.
anybody
Dennis said
Dennis?
he would second, but I want to make
Okay.
a clarification because this has come before the board before, but we
Right.
did not follow the correct procedure. So that's why we have to bring it back and we have to delineate it separately instead of all together with other things. Just so everyone, if you're wondering why we're doing this again, thank you. Okay, so it's a motion for the payment of an external, to purchase an 5 terabyte external hard drive. Lizzie?
Yes.
Lizzie's a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah's a yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy is a yes. Greg?
Yes.
Greg's a yes. Chris?
Yes, yes.
Chris is a yes. Teresa is a yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula's a yes. Laura?
Yes.
Laura's a yes. Carlos is ineligible. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's a yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem's a yes. Dolores? Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit's a yes. Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores? Jasmine, thank you. Dolores?
Yes.
And Dolores is a yes. Motion passes.
Yeah, there's a question. The hard drive is being stored with the secretary. That would be Teresa.
Okay.
And it will stay with the book of minutes when I am done. I will hand it off to someone or store it somewhere.
Right. So the next is a funding request in Dynasty. I know you've been very patient, but noting that we have 5 minutes, I'm going to let Greg present. But Greg, I'll just post it so you can start talking. So unless you wanted to post, what do you want to do?
We're
Great.
doing fine, and I think Dynasty should present her own request.
Right, but we only have 5 minutes.
She can talk in 5 minutes. She's a
Okay.
professional.
But who's posting the share screen of the funding request while she's speaking?
Oh, my goodness.
I'll do it, but
Laura?
Dynasty, can you start talking? I know you're here, I think. Is Dynasty still here?
Yes, she's still here. I can post it.
You're on mute, Dynasty.
She might have stepped away. Can we go to the next one?
Yes, we can. Board member
I'm
business.
here, I'm sorry.
Oh, here you go.
Were
So
you guys
were
you guys
so
asking
Dynasty, I don't know if you heard that we have set 5 minutes for this item.
Okay, that's no problem. I know that I presented last time, so am I presenting the same slides that we did last time?
I can't imagine because that was 15 minutes.
Yes, so do I just need to briefly summarize what's going on or?
Yes, please. Do you need, wait, okay, Greg is presenting your funding request right now. So if you can talk about yourself, and so that's not your slides, that would be obviously Greg's, okay?
Yes, because I think mine is a 15-minute presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all at 9:12 p.m., unfortunately. I am a social worker, and I'm currently also a business owner that has a nonprofit organization called Dynasty's United Youth Association. We partner with the Los Angeles Public Library, and that's how we've been in our relationship with the UNNC. So we have provided services at the Jefferson Branch Library, the Baldwin Hills Library, that have basically existed in your district. And so currently we've been doing this project for about 7 years. And so we're reaching out today to receive additional support due to the unfinished learning and the learning loss that has significantly impacted our Los Angeles youth. And so at this present moment, we are trying to accommodate more of our students because we have doubled in the number of students that we are serving, both online and in person. So we are requesting up to $4,000 to go towards our program assistants to hire more tutors. So we listed those responsibilities on the slides, but I can briefly go over them. So the tutors will be responsible for administering the pre and post diagnostic exams. They also will be responsible for reviewing and checking students' homework and creating learning goals. And we have implemented a new online system on our website called www.dynastiesyouth.org. And if you guys log onto the website, the parents have their own usernames and passwords where they're able to log into the account and see their students' quizzes, their diagnostic results, and be able to engage in the learning process and invest in their students' education in a different way. So additional to all of those different things, and our tutors also being certified with the National Tutor Association, we felt that we were really in need at this point of trying to get more funding for tutors. So that is the reason why we are here. Well, I am here, and that is the request that we are seeking. I'm not sure if that met the time frame, Laura.
Well, I don't know either. Dorit
Yeah,
has her
she's still-
hand up, but I think, Dorit, if you don't mind, can Greg post the funding request again?
Sure.
I have no objection to that, but I do have a
Thank you.
question for Dynasty when I get the chance.
Yes, I
Go ahead, ask the
understand.
question. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Dynasty.
then go ahead and ask the question.
Dynasty, how are you since this is UNNC money and we're supposed to make sure it stays within the UNNC footprint, how will you make sure that the $4,000 goes to serve UNNC, either, if you hire UNNC tutors that live in our footprint or students that live in our footprint, how are you going to be able to ensure the money stays within our students? And second comment I just want to say is, yay, love the idea of this program.
Awesome, awesome, great question. Was that Dolores speaking? I'm sorry.
Dorit.
No.
It's Dorit.
Dorit. Oh, nice to meet you. So what's happening is, great question. How we set it up is that we became a virtual partner with the Los Angeles Public Library during COVID. So we're still serving the kids from Jefferson Library, Washington Irving, and Baldwin Hills Library. So we still were able to keep in communication. So I think in terms of the district or region that you're in, we're serving about, I think, 45% of our 100% population. I think it's between 30 to 45% as I listed. So I also, on my slides, I listed the schools we were serving in your district. If only 2 or 3 came up. And so we enlisted that as well. So that is kind of like the percentage of the students that are in your area.
Raheem's hand is up.
Yes, Raheem.
Hey, Dynasty, I just want to say I'm always super impressed by you and your program. So really proud of the work that you're doing. Keep it up. Curious how you doubled your numbers. How did you do that?
Well, that's a great question too. So when we were in COVID, since we were serving districts, I think 6, 7, 8, and 2 at that point in time, we became virtual, and we did this whole partnership with Herb Wesson and the Los Angeles Public Library, where they did a press release to inform LA County that DUIA was a virtual partner with LAPL. So Herb Wesson basically gave us a grant to jumpstart the program for our first hybrid model. And so when we were in COVID, it allowed us to extend our support throughout LA County because of the online services. So we're serving kids in San Diego and Nevada. We're also serving kids just all throughout LA County now. So I think because of that online component, it has allowed DUIA to reach students in a different capacity than before. So that is kind of like where the need started to arise. And then of course, in our local districts, in our communities, a lot of our kids are receiving a homework club because of some of the things that are happening in their homes. So it seemed like because of COVID and because of the 6 months to 2 years learning loss, it has made DUIA create a lane to be able to serve more kids. Now that education it seems to be a priority at this moment. So that's kind of like my understanding around it.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Teresa, then Chris.
Thank you. Dynasty, I just want to follow up on Dorit's question. If you could just give me clarification on this, that some of the funds, some of the 4,000, 35% of the children in our district are served by your organization, but
Correct.
some of the funds will go to other students who are in need also. Is that correct?
No, these students will only, the funds that you guys are providing will only go towards the tutors who are serving your areas.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Our budget is pretty high, so we have to set it up by different districts. So it will not go to the other students. It would only be going to your students.
Chris,
Where do you see, from what other sources do you receive the majority of that large budget number?
Great question. So a lot of discretionary funds. So we're currently in the process of going through District 2 to receive discretionary funds. We're also going through a different process with District 6, I think, as well. Another thing that we're doing is a lot of fundraising virtually online. We just did a fundraiser during COVID. We raised about $115,000 within 4 months. So we've been doing a lot of like different fundraisers from grant writing. And we're also in the process of working on our first government grant, which is the community service block grant. So we're working on our statement of qualifications. So I will say our funding is, we're trying to diversify it in a sense. And so we're getting in those lanes as we speak.
Thank you.
okay, so you guys were really running late on time. The executive committee's motion was to move this forward to the governing board. If I'm not mistaken, Teresa, we didn't actually move a particular amount or vote to approve. We just moved the whole thing forward. Is that
Yes,
correct?
the entire 4,000.
Right, but not as a recommendation. Just move the item forward. Meaning, in other words, we need a real motion we need a motion and a second.
Yes, we
don't
need a
have
motion and a second. Yes.
Yeah, so we need a motion and a second on this item. Greg?
I think this is an ongoing concern that I have when we do our meetings. I really think before we start talking about any money issues, we should start we should be briefed on the status of our wallet. I know we just went over a few funding requests and we approved those, but I think that the first thing we should do is to say, this is our money, this is our budget brief, so we know how much money we have, because we've already approved some things, which is still within our ability. And then we have this request, and the board does not know our funding status. So I want to give the briefing now of where we stand.
Greg, that briefing, unfortunately, is not a full briefing, is not on the agenda, but we who serve on the executive committee know that are below the line, the money we have available to distribute at this moment in time was $12,000. And last month we voted $1,000 for an MPG for Sons Matter. So that means we have, at the moment, while we're holding other monies aside, we have $11,000 available to grant or do community improvement projects, sort of the money that's not, that's available for us. So I'm sorry to do the summary, but we don't have on the agenda sharing the screen of the whole budget at this moment.
We have to make a motion. We're already at time.
I know that. So I thought Greg was raising his hand to make a motion. Does anyone have a motion to make? Dolores?
I don't have the motion. I just have a question. Is that $11,000 for the rest of our fiscal year?
The other monies at the moment are either actually allocated or sitting for, are we doing hybrid or not? How much equipment do we need to buy? Is our storage costs are going up? Is there a way to reduce them? How much, the money we might need to be spending on actual rooms? But we discussed this a month ago when we were discussing Sons Matter, and I understand the point, and now I'm wasting time. It's not on the agenda.
Okay.
And I see a whole bunch of hands up, but we don't have a motion on the floor.
But we can still have discussion, can't we?
I think our parliamentarian told us we need to do a motion.
Yeah, there's already been 5 minutes of discussion. So we can extend the discussion.
Well, I'm raising my hand. Make the
I'm
motion.
sorry, you guys, we can't really extend well, we can, but let me just give you guys very quickly. We have at least one person who said they need to leave at 9:30 and two more that need to leave by 10. And we have a major presentation still ahead of us and actual treasurer's report things that we have no choice. We have to approve several things. So we don't have a lot of time left on this. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 hands in the air, and we would need a motion to extend the time.
Well, I'm raising my hand. This is Paula to make the motion.
Thank you, Paula, make the motion.
And so
I think that's a point of order.
No, she's making the motion for Dynasty, I believe.
Yes, I understand.
But Chris was before her, Laura, so I don't know if Chris was gonna make a motion.
I was going to make a motion, but I cede the floor to Paula.
Okay.
Since he's been called on and we're trying to get a motion forward. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Chris. So I make the motion that we grant the $4,000 requested to Dynasty United Youth Association as discussed. Is that enough for a motion?
Yes.
And we need a second.
Is there a second? I'm sorry, Teresa, did you say you seconded or are you asking?
No, I
like me
asked.
for it?
I asked
Is
if
there
we
a-
had.
Is there a second?
Paul seconds.
So, Chris, is your virtual hand to now discuss that motion?
I think I believe my hand is down, but if we're now going to have discussion, I would like to.
I'm sorry, let me just stop you one second. Nancy, given that we have a motion on the floor, do we need to extend the time by motion or are we okay?
I'm not sure because we already had 5 minutes of Q&A. So I don't know if we now want to continue talking about it. I think we need to extend the time to talk about
Okay. Is there a motion to extend the time?
I move that we extend the time to discuss the motion.
I second.
Okay. Can we, I'm sorry for those who have their hands up to speak. Can you take your hands down and then vote on this motion to
Chris,
extend
can
the
you
time?
specify how much more time?
Just briefly, I wanted
I would like 2 minutes. Nancy, if we could extend this for 2 minutes, just so we get Chris's in, and then we can do the roll call, the BAC on this. That's all we need.
I just want the board to be able to know that we're looking at about 36% of the remainder of our budget for this one item. And so we should be going forward with the knowledge that we're making, even though it's not a whole lot of money, it's a whole lot of our budget for the remainder of the year for such items. And so that's all.
You can make him another never mind.
We have the motion on the floor.
Well, we never even voted on extending the time. It's Lizzie, and then let's just do the BAC, please. Lizzie.
I wholeheartedly support the project, but I am concerned about the amount of money that we are granting Youth Dynasty. It is over 10% of our total budget, which is $32,000. And I believe that at the last executive committee meeting, Dynasty told us that she was trying to get grants from other places. And so, for example, she mentioned Baldwin Hills. Baldwin Hills Library is in another, it's out of the UNNC footprint. So I'm hoping that she has asked for funds from that district. So that is my concern, but I wholeheartedly support the project. Thank you, Dynasty.
Okay, I'm gonna call out of order. Nancy has her hand up and then Dolores, but.
Oh, I wanted to make a motion, but I don't know.
So we'd either have to vote down this motion, ask for an amendment to this motion, or the motion can be withdrawn by the mover and seconder.
Yes, I wanted to move to amend it to reduce it to 2,000.
Okay. And Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the motion to reduce it to 2,000. Nancy, this is where I don't remember. Under Robert's rule, which motion do we vote on first? Do we vote on your amending motion?
If I agree to amend the original motion to 2,000, then do we have to, that takes care of it, right?
Yep.
Except you're not the mover, you were the seconder? Or
No,
were
she
you?
No, I
moved. It
made
was
the
moved by
motion.
Paula.
I
Yeah,
was
it was
the
moved by
seconder.
Paula.
She moved.
I made the
Okay.
motion.
So
So,
Dolores amends her motion to fund
Paula.
Dynasty
No.
$2,000. I mean, Paula,
Pa-
sorry, excuse me.
Paula,
Paula
yes.
amends her motion to fund Dynasty for $2,000.
And who was the second?
Paul was
Paul.
the second, and I second that.
Okay,
Okay, so, all right.
so can we, are we finished with discussion?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's vote.
Okay, then I'd like to make the vote. Lizzie,
Yes.
Lizzie's yes. Sarah,
Yes.
Sarah's yes. Nancy,
Yes.
yeah, Nancy's yes. Greg,
Yes.
Greg is yes. Chris,
Yes.
Chris is yes. Teresa's a yes. Dennis,
No.
Dennis is no. Paula,
Yes.
Paula's yes. Laura,
yes.
Laura's yes. Carlos is ineligible. Paul,
Yes.
Paul is yes. Charlie,
Yes.
Charlie's yes. Taylor,
Yep.
Taylor's yes. Raheem,
Yes.
Raheem is yes. Dolores,
Yes.
Dolores is yes. Dorit,
Yes.
Dorit's yes. Jasmine,
Yes.
Jasmine, and Jasmine's yes. The motion passes.
Can I just add one thing before you guys? Just thank you for the continued support. I appreciate it. And so I just wanted to give you guys one brief update. So we do have a new center that we provide online and in-person services. So I listed the address there. Anyone from the neighborhood council, I would love for any one of you guys to come by, check out and see the kids if you guys have time. And also I listed the website. So if there's anyone who is in need of free homework lab services, please feel free to have them reach out. And you guys have a great night, and just thank you again for always supporting Duya. And we look forward to seeing you guys. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dynasty.
Okay, you guys have a good night.
Okay, so Greg, the next item also I think is yours, the board member business cards.
Okay, so let's go to that. Let me close this one. Okay, so with the business cards, we have set aside funds for that, and I need to get that.
I think it was $500, right?
Yeah, yes, $500. So what we want to know, we have several options of, we're trying to support local businesses, but we can also get them from like Vistaprint. So I just want to show you how they look. So let me pull this.
And while you're doing that, Greg, I have a quick question. Have you shared any of this with Raheem? I see that it will need a little redesign because it has incorrect information.
Yeah, so that's part of what we need to look at also. So let me see, business cards, where are they at? Okay, here we go. Sharing screen. Okay, so can everyone see this? All right, so this is the format of our business cards. Do I need to make this larger? No, yes, no, is it good?
Well, a little, but it's okay. Trying to.
Okay, let me see, how about that? Is that better? Okay, I'm moving on. All right, so the cards will have your name, if you're the chair of a committee, it will have like the community that you're representing. It can have your phone number, if you want to put your cell number on it. It can have your UNNC email. It can have another email that you want on it. So this is information I need to to receive from you. We need to, of course, correct this information here because it talked about our monthly meeting, the start time, and it also talked about where we met. So now we need to put that we're meeting via Zoom. And so that's that part of it. And this is, again, this is just one example. I'm showing you stories from the past. And then there's the pricing. The pricing can be, again, using Vistaprint, but we're also going to look into local vendors. Vistaprint for 100 cards with a little discount that we have. It could be 19, almost 20 bucks for that order. If we want to order $500, that would be like $28.80. We wanted to order 250, it would be that amount. So this is what we need. I guess what we should do is, put a shared Google Doc, and so everyone could put like what phone number they want on it, on the card, what position they want on their card, like what committee you're on, and then emails, the UNNC email and other email, and then we need to edit this. But that's the information on the business cards. And the assumption is that everyone will want to have the cards. And what we need to decide is how many we want to order for each team members. Do you want to order 100? Do we want to order 250? Do we want to order 500? Does somebody want 10, etc.? Any questions? So hands are up, hands all over the place.
Okay, so Teresa has her hand up. Raheem has his hand up.
I
And
think Nancy's hand was up before me.
Yes, Nancy.
I'm sorry, Nancy.
Okay, so I'll start the 5 minutes. Greg, my preference would be not to do business cards. I personally don't think they're used much. I mean, I've been parts of various groups where they give me business cards. I never use them and they always go to waste. And so that's my preference. So I wanted to express that. The second thing is, I remember being part of a communications committee with Raheem where we were going to do postcards to send out to various residents so that they are more aware of UNNC. So I would prefer that. And I think the idea of the postcard was that it would have our picture or the names of the people that represent their area. So I thought spending the money in something like that may be more beneficial. Another point is there's a lot of turnover. So we're going to spend money issuing these business cards and then people leave or don't show up, etc. So again, my preference is to not do business cards.
Okay, noted. I won't comment on your comments, but duly noted. And I can come back to it later on. Teresa was next.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Well, I do need the business cards. I interact with a lot of different officials in my capacity in the West Adams Avenues. I'm dealing with the building inspector in an apartment building. And even though I said I was a representative for UNNC, I would have liked to have been able to give them a card and say, here's my information, please contact me. But I'm more concerned that we're getting ready to possibly change our whole image. And I don't want to get business cards. And then in 3 months or 6 months, we voted on something else and we have a whole new branding. So I'd like to wait until we approve that and then get the new cards. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, Raheem. Okay, Greg, I'm going to call on people. Raheem.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's funny. Oh my God. All right, let me mute
slap.
myself. I'm sorry. I just thought that was funny.
Nancy made a lot of my points, so I won't reiterate. But just, Greg, what I'd love to do is if you'd be willing to table this and bring this to the communications committee, we'd love to figure out a solution. I think there might be something between what Nancy wants and what Teresa wants that we can figure out together. Maybe even a digital option, something that'll kind of work for each individual board member instead of just printing 500 business cards for each person. So if you're willing to table this, we can definitely take this on in the communications committee.
Okay, and then Chris Hand is up next.
I'm in agreement with all three of the previous speakers, and I think we should table it and explore through the communications committee. But
next is
Dolores?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Madam President, I was calling people. You do your job.
Okay, you can call people.
No,
but-
no.
Okay, we're wasting
I'm just trying
time.
to get through this, Dolores.
Dolores, you're up.
I know, I had to unmute
sorry.
myself. I don't know what this current board has been doing with regards to interaction with our stakeholders, but on previous, when I sat on the board, I use my business cards because I interact a lot with people and I belong to several different organizations and I use those business cards. Right now, the reason why I brought this up in the first place was because we have new neighbors in our neighborhood and I want to go over with one of those little bags with some information in it and my business card to let them know who I was, what I was representing, and what we had to offer. And you go up and you tell somebody who you are, they just look at you side eye. So I think that the business cards are important. We don't have to get 500. We don't have to get 250. We can get 100. But I think that as UNNC representatives, we do need the business cards. Now, if we want to take it over to Raheem's committee and discuss it with regards to his branding issue, that's fine. But at some point, we need to have the business cards.
Okay, Taylor.
Yeah, so I think Nancy made most of my points, but I would just add that so I work for the world's most downloaded app, 2 years running in a row, and work on a business development team. So I worked on hundreds of deals with some of the largest companies in the world. I've never used a business card. I've never gotten a business card. I've never given a business card. Used to work at Google, worked on partnerships, the largest website in the world. Same thing, nobody gives out business cards. I find it very odd when it seems to be that government officials are the only people that hand me business cards. And I find it very, very strange. To me, business cards are it's not really something that people in business do today. It's something that I recognize from like 80s movies is what business cards seem to be to me. So I would suggest that we join the 21st century and not do business cards.
Okay, I actually raised my own hand, Greg. Did you see that? Since you're calling.
We're at time, so.
Okay, so rather than tabling this, I would like to transfer it to the Communications Committee to bring back their design recommendations, but I really would like to do, folks, a collaborative consensus compromise, which is let's get a design and then let's vote at the November meeting on funding for those people who want to have business cards. And we don't need to have 23 board members with business cards if 4 people want them. So, but we can't print them right now because they need to be redesigned, not just for branding. I mean, it's just we need to genericize our information because we don't know when we're going to be meeting in person again anyway. So lots of people have their hands up, but we're out of time, as Nancy has pointed out. Is this okay to refer this to Communications Committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a motion? I second it.
Yeah, what are you saying, Laura?
Yeah, I don't believe we need a motion to transfer it over.
Okay,
to
so as a
Communications
president,
Committee.
you're making you're deciding to move it to communications for further resolution.
If that doesn't piss everyone off.
Okay,
I am.
it doesn't piss me off. Let's go on to the next thing, you guys. Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we've had on our executive committee agenda since May, inventory report. So I'm sharing the screen. The inventory report is sadly a mess. And the reason it is a mess is we are missing things, things that may not be missing but are broken. So everything that's in this bright orangey yellow is gone. Some of it is gone because it really was dead. Some of it may be gone because it's lost. And everything in blue was what was in the firehouse and it doesn't exist anymore unless somebody might, well, I don't think anyone has the brown Naugahyde straight back chair, for example. And the metal filing cabinet was all sadly thrown away. So the executive committee wanted us to look at this tonight. It turns out that Gibson wants to set up, who is our Dunn rep, wants to set up a meeting with Shauna next week, and Greg does not know that yet. So we have to approve an inventory by the November meeting because that's the 2-year anniversary of when we last submitted an inventory. So if it is okay, I would like to table it. But semi-table it because you guys are looking at this. Would that be okay? I'm here. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing and I don't know
That's
who
fine
would be
with me.
calling me at this
Okay,
hour.
I agree that, make the motion that we table this until the next meeting.
And I second, this is Paul.
Do we need to
And
take a
Greg has
vote?
his hand up. Greg has his,
My conversation with Shauna, that we could speak to her again together. But her guidance to me was that we just submit what we have and so that we can upload it. So
yeah, Greg, I understand. I've had a
please,
subsequent conversation.
Please.
Just
So
table.
I'm just saying, we could submit what we take the inventory that we have. We need to, at a meeting, we're not going to do it this one. We need to approve the inventory with discrepancies and all. We need to do a BAC, and then I need to upload it to the portal. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just saying this is a snapshot of what we have in a moment in time. So when we meet with her, she's going to tell us the same thing. Just give us the inventory of what you have and then approve it. Hold your meeting, meet as a body, approve it, do the BAC and submit it. So we're going to do the same thing next month, but
that may be true, but I'm sorry, wasn't there a motion to table? And it was seconded?
Yeah.
Well, people didn't have all the information.
Yeah, and I remember that Dolores said during the executive committee meeting that she wanted, if Dunn was going to take that stance, she wanted a letter from them saying that.
Yeah.
Didn't you make a comment like that, Dolores?
Yes, I did. And she said she was going to get something from Gibson.
Yeah.
And the something is he's setting up a meeting next week.
No, we wanted something in writing, Laura, to cover us, We wanted something in writing.
Okay, you guys, this is getting upsetting. I mean, I should turn off my video because I'm probably doing bad glaring things. I reached out to Gibson. He was unable to have a meeting. The fact that he didn't write me that, I have no control over. This was a phone conversation. But I also asked, well,
if he didn't write you, then I don't know what to tell you because Dolores was very adamant. She wanted something in writing. And if we do not have that, then we need to go ahead and vote on this. And we have a motion now to table it, but I'm with Greg on this. We just need to submit what we have. So I'm going to retract. I'm not sure, Nancy, the correct parliamentarian ruling here, but I'm going to retract my motion. I'm sorry.
All we asked for, Laura, was that you said that that Dunn was trying to figure out how to appropriate the missing items that was thrown away by that organization. And all I wanted was something from Gibson or someone from Dunn to say that it was okay, that they were working on it, and to go ahead and send in the report. Just something to cover our behind, because later on, they may come back and say, what happened to this other stuff?
Okay.
So we need something to cover ourselves.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes, and again, noting that we're all doing the best we can, what I was told is that he's arranging a meeting with myself, Greg, our the Dunn rep, and the funding person for next week. And we all know, because we last submitted our inventory in November of 2019, it's once every 2 years. So it is due in November of 2021. So I understand, Dolores and Teresa, what you asked me to have him do, but I can't make him do it. And I did do what I was asked to do, which is share the inventory. I did share it with Greg and asked him to verify some of the material, but it hasn't been updated from what I shared with Greg. And it is 9:48. We're going to lose quorum probably at 10. We have had people here waiting to do the branding presentation. And this item should have been not more than 5 minutes. And I'm doing the best I can.
I'm sorry, but we took out 10 minutes in the beginning of this thing, going over this AB 336 or 361 that Gibson explicitly said that we do not have to do, and you insisted on doing it, and then it failed anyway. So I'm sorry that we're doing that, but I really want to hear what Greg and Dolores have to say on this inventory thing, because it's been going on for a long time.
Okay, I'm
We're
sorry,
at 5
Dolores.
minutes. We either have to extend to continue talking about this. There's no motion on the table because Teresa has withdrawn her motion.
Okay.
So do
I
we
will
want a
make it,
motion to extend time?
I make a motion to extend it for 5 more minutes. Can we have a second? And then let's take a vote to make sure
I
it's
will
accurate.
second that.
Okay,
Okay,
and then
great.
let's take a vote if it passes or not. If it doesn't pass, then we will not continue the conversation. So everybody lower their hands. Dolores and Greg, please lower your hands.
Yeah, it's a little slow.
Okay, and please raise your hands now if you want to extend the conversation for 5 more minutes. Okay, we only have 5, 6. I believe it does not pass. Is that correct?
It does not.
Okay, so I guess it's going to be tabled, or there's no action. It won't be, it's not tabled, so I just make no action.
It's continued till November.
Okay.
So I need to see a show of hands of how many people are able to stay for the branding presentation plus voting for the MER and the reimbursement. So, well, me.
Hey, Laura, just a heads up, we're gonna pull the branding presentation tonight. It's super late. This is not the board. This is not the environment we want to give it in. This is not the full board you want to give it to. I hope that when you schedule this for the next meeting or whatever meeting it gets scheduled for, we can have it scheduled a little bit earlier. Executive committee, like, more attention needs to be paid to how these agendas are put together. Like, there are so many things on the agenda tonight that should not have been there. And this happens so many times, and like, it's so frustrating, it's so confusing. It's almost 10 p.m. We still have so many things to get to and get through. Like, we have to do better, guys. I know we can do better. We have to do better.
Okay.
So are we moving to treasurer's report then?
We are.
All righty then. Okay. Okay, so let me see what I will show you first. So let's go. Am I unmuted? Yes, I'm unmuted. Yes.
Teresa has your hand. You have
And
your hand
Taylor.
up.
Yeah, I think Taylor has his too. I just want to say that I'm very disappointed with how this meeting is going. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. So the first document that I want to share is, excuse me, too many windows open. All right, I'm going to share the budget first with you, okay? Can anyone see this? Okay, so this is a working budget. To change the date here to today's date. But I want to say, for the purpose of our stewardship I really think that we should go over the budget at the beginning, but before we talk about expending any money, so that everyone has it in their mind what we have. And I don't expect people to remember from last month what we have. So I think that that's essential for us to see that this is the amount of money, this is the category. Like, for example, I was trying to say, just for note, that we should look at the amount of money we have in the neighborhood purpose grant so that we can see what's there, because we had only put $3,000 in that, but we had a request for $4,000. And we had already spent $1,000 in that, okay? So we need to see this before we talk about any money item. So that's that part. The other part, this sheet here just shows you the actual money that have been spent to date. We spent $3,860.84. And that's just for information purposes. So the next document that I want to share is what we actually need to approve. And this is the MERs. So we need to approve two, one for September and then one for August. So let me pull up the one for August. MERS. Okay, so let me show you one for August so we can approve that. And again, then by the time we get to this, it's like nobody has the spirit for it. So anyway, this is the monthly expenditure report for August. We're looking at it now because it wasn't ready at that time we were looking at it. This had our beginning balance at $34,632. And then that's the total amount that was spent. And that was the amount that remained. And we had some outstanding funds. Let me minimize this. Then we had some outstanding funds and commitments that we had, that availability. And then we went down, and this shows what we placed in each category. Again, neighborhood purpose grants, etc. And then at that time, this was what we actually spent: public storage, Ring Central, the boost that we had, and our web person. This is reimbursement for storage that I paid for before, and then Ann's bill. And then this was an outstanding bill that we had at the time. So if there aren't any questions, I make a motion that we approve the August monthly expenditure report.
So moved.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing that. So that was that. So we need to do a BAC on that and vote on that. Then I'll show the next one.
I
Yeah,
second.
first we need to vote
Yes,
before we
so-
show the next one.
That's what I said. We need to vote on this
So
one, then
Greg,
I'll show
you moved to approve it, and Dolores, did you second?
Yes.
No, Dolores. Oh, is that what happened?
No,
Okay.
I
Oh.
thought I was moving the motion, but if Greg
Yes.
moved it, then I'll just second it.
Okay. Okay, and this is the approve the
August.
August
August.
MER. Okay, Lizzie,
Yes.
Lizzie's a yes. Sarah? Nancy?
Yes.
Nancy's a yes. Greg?
Yes.
Greg's a yes. Chris?
Yes.
Chris is a yes. Teresa's a yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Paula's a yes. Laura?
Yes,
Laura's a yes. Carlos is ineligible for this also?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, okay. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's a yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's a yes. Raheem?
Sure.
Raheem is yes. Dolores?
Yes.
Dolores is yes. Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit's yes. And Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's a yes, the motion passes.
Okay, next I will show the September MER. But I have concerns as I show it to you. And we can decide if we will, oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm showing this to you, but I have concerns that there is an error on this because this is showing, well, no, so we're good. So this is the beginning balance that we have here. No, this is concerned. This should not be 32. It should be the total amount of our budget. So that's a concern there. But then we have the amount of money that we have budgeted in each line item. And then we have the amount of money that we spent, expenditures for the month. And then we have no outstanding debts. So I have some administrative concerns about this one, but I'm still going to make a motion that we approve the monthly expenditure report as presented.
Greg, if there's an error, whatever the error is, it needs to be correct before we approve it.
Yes, I agree with Chris.
I'm looking in our agenda packet at August. I'm sorry, I'm having to go back and forth. And I think what they're doing, Greg, is the ending balance in August was 3239027, right? So that'd be the beginning balance.
That could also be the case, but it should be like the total amount. I think that is the case. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I think that's how they do it.
Yes.
They track it from month to month, the beginning balance at the beginning of the month and the remaining balance at the end of the month. So this comports with the other one.
Right. Yeah.
It may not be accurate, but it comports.
Yes. So that's why I'm saying we can approve it. I have concerns. And again, there's a lot of things that I see that I said that my concerns, like some things may be in the wrong category. So that's why I think that we still can approve it because it still tracks. I still can track it. But it should be like, this is our total balance from the beginning and then total amount spent. But so my motion still stands that I want us to approve this as it's presented.
Right, but I'm sorry. It's a monthly cash reconciliation, that top column.
Right.
So it's not our annual balance.
Okay.
That's correct, which says there's no error in the monthly cash as presented.
Right. It's yes, for monthly, yes, we're good to go, but that's my concern here, that it should be for the total amount.
Still not understanding your concern.
Right.
My concern is that we should look at the total amount of our budget and the total amount spent. But if we're looking at it for a monthly reconciliation, then I withdraw my concern. So monthly report, this is the amount balance from last month. This is the total amount we spent. This is our remaining balance. Nothing outstanding. We have some commitments for other items that's earmarked, and then net availability. And this is what the total amount that we have earmarked for all of the areas. Monthly cash flow analysis. So request we approve the monthly expenditure of funds for September.
Is that a motion? I'll second it if that's.
Thank you. Yes, that's the motion. All right, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I've lost the motion. Are you saying you move to approve but with concerns?
I have my own concerns with it, but it meets. Yes, I'll make a motion that we approve the September monthly expenditure report My concerns do not need to be put into the motion.
I thought he said he withdrew them.
Yes, that doesn't need to be put in the motion. My motion is. that we
I
approve the
didn't
monthly-
put, I didn't type that in the motion. Greg moves to approve the monthly expenditure report for September, Chris seconds.
Okay, can we vote?
Yes, Lizzie,
Yes.
Lizzie's yes, Sarah? Nancy,
Yes.
Nancy's yes, Greg,
Yes.
Greg's yes, Chris,
Yes.
Chris is yes, Teresa is a no. Dennis,
Yes.
Dennis is a yes. Paula,
Yes.
Paula's yes. Laura,
Yes.
Laura's yes. Carlos is ineligible. Paul? Charlie? Paul?
No.
Paul's a no. Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie's yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Taylor's a yes. Raheem?
Yep.
Raheem's a yes. Dolores?
Yes.
Dolores is a yes. Dorit?
Yes.
Dorit, yes. And Jasmine?
Yes.
Jasmine's a yes. The motion passes.
And my last item, I do believe, is that I just want to stress that I do recommend that before we talk about spending any funds or entertaining any requests, that we just have an overview of, this is our budget, this is the budget, this is the funds, these are the funds in each category. So we will know how much money we have available for that area, so that we will know that when we have the request for like the outreach, we will know that you can see on the spreadsheet that the funds are there and that we're not moving money around. So that's my request for future meetings.
Yeah, but
Not that I want, not that you know, I don't want to be the, you know, just like Raheem, you don't want to be the last part of the agenda, but for the knowledge of the body, I think we need to see that at the beginning of any financial discussions.
Right.
Okay,
I see
ma'am.
Raheem has his hand up, but Greg, this isn't the last thing. We have to reapprove the reimbursement to Teresa on the hard drive, so she can get her money. So hold that thought. Raheem?
Yeah, I'm just, I'm confused. So I'd like a point of clarification. As far as like how agendas get put together, Greg, on the executive committee, the agendas aren't put together by the entire committee. Like you guys don't all have input on the order of agenda items already. So like, I'm curious, like if that's something that you want, how is it that it hasn't already been implemented?
I think this
Well,
is
first
the
of all,
first
that's
time it's
not,
actually been requested.
yeah, it's not on the agenda for us to even have discussion, but we all have option to submit. When we have the executive committee meeting, Raheem, we all have options to submit items that we'd like to see on the agenda. And for the most part, Laura puts them on. So I'm not sure, just like that survey that we had for funding, Greg asked for that. There was a qualification that there will only be 3 items on it, but he put 5, that's okay. But so when we request something to go on the agenda, Laura does it. She goes back and forth, and we're all putting our 2 cents in. So it is a collaborative, you know, yes.
Effort.
Thank you, effort, yes.
I think the question was where to place it. Like treasurers could be earlier. Raheem is asking branding be placed earlier.
Well, let me just answer.
So is it just a matter of just requesting?
What we had decided last year, if you recall, is that we're supposed to be moving things around so that if, you know, so branding ended up too late, it becomes first next time. Treasurers sometimes at the top, presidents sometimes at the bottom. I mean, we had decided as a whole board that it shouldn't always be in the same order, because there's always going to be somebody last. I mean, that's just what it is. It's always going to be somebody last. Obviously, I did not anticipate the early part of the meeting discussion, so I was really excited to see branding. But in terms of always having a look at what the budget is before we do funding, that would mean the treasurer is always first, and if that is what the board wants to recommend to executive, we don't need a vote, then that can be, but I don't know that we necessarily want to always have the treasurer's report first either.
And I'm not
Yeah.
asking for the detail like the MERs. I'm just saying that we should just a little snapshot of like when we get ready to approve or ask, someone's asked for money, the question would be, well, how much money do we have? And I can say,
Right.
here you go. But it's not a detailed report. I just think we just need to see that.
Yeah, well,
that's all
and
I'm
Greg,
saying.
obviously, you could, I mean, we really are taking so much time on this. I feel like when we had Executive Committee 11A, funding priorities, discussion and possible action, if you felt that this was important, you could have snuck it in right there because it's generic. But you didn't think of it at the time, and that's okay. It wasn't really what it meant. It meant the budget survey, but I didn't have the phrase budget survey, funding survey either, because I didn't realize you were going to post the survey. So it was rather generic, but we're taking an awful lot of time right now. I think we've heard what you have asked, and we will try to make that a permanent thing at the beginning, right before funding requests. And so you don't have to actually beg each month to do it. Because there's no reason to keep, it's taking longer to discuss. Chris, you have your hand up.
Possible that that budget summary could be attached to the agenda so all of us could review it before the meeting. So we have it on a weekly basis with the agenda before we even convene the meeting.
Right. And if it's a snapshot, meaning not a full Excel, the whole spreadsheet, but just a snapshot of categories, it literally can be appended onto the agenda as opposed to attached to the agenda. It's very difficult to distribute attachments in advance of them going into the agenda packet, because that's yet another violation of the Brown Act. It has to be in the agenda packet before it is distributed. But if it's actually on the agenda, just like I had the committees on the agenda this time, that way it could be distributed with the agenda. So
good idea.
Nancy, I know you need to leave.
Yes, I'm gonna leave. I don't know if that breaks quorum, but I wanted to let you know before I did so.
Okay, can we just do a quick quorum check? Because I would like to get Teresa reimbursed if at all possible too.
Here's the document.
So does it just take a motion?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Move to reimburse Teresa for her expenses in the amount of $110.24.
Seconded by Paula.
Right. And Nancy, you're able to leave.
Okay.
You can vote. Let her vote first.
Let her vote.
Okay. Let her vote and then leave.
Call for the question.
Oh, okay. Lizzie,
Yes.
Sarah, Nancy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Teresa's a yes. Dennis,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Paul, Charlie.
Yes.
Paul says yes.
Thank you, Paul. Taylor, Raheem.
Yes.
Thank you, Taylor. Raheem.
Yes, and happy anniversary, Dennis.
Raheem's a yes. Dolores.
Yes.
Dolores is yes. Dorit has left.
Thank you.
Jasmine.
Yes.
Jasmine is a yes. Okay.
Okay, we good? Anything
Right.
else?
Well, we do have the minutes to approve, and I think we still have quorum.
Do you want to share the screen? I think I can figure this out this time.
Teresa, did I give you share screen
No,
privileges?
you have not.
Oh, sorry.
Madam Chairman, do we have quorum?
Yes.
Will we have quorum if I leave? I received my COVID booster this afternoon, and I was trying to hang in for the communications, but I am not feeling 100% at this point. And does that
we will not have quorum if you leave.
I will stay.
Okay, these are the draft meeting minutes from our last meeting. I made a special notation for those who arrived late. And And previously we had them absent, but Charlie and Dennis arrived late, so there's a notation for that. And I'm just going to scan through. If at any point someone needs me to stop, I will stop or slow down.
Move to approve.
Second,
Okay, that was Dolores.
Yes.
yes,
Okay, and Greg.
yes.
And then I do a vote on this too, right?
Can we do
I,
votes for it?
Oh,
Votes-
no. Oh, we
votes
don't?
for it?
I don't, we do need to vote, but I don't know if we need a BAC.
I don't think we need a BAC.
Okay, I see Chris and
was voting.
Taylor's hands up.
I was
Oh.
trying to vote.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to vote.
So I'll,
Voting.
I'll stop the share
Okay.
and then we can.
My hand is up high.
I think we have 9.
What, we're voting?
Voting.
Yeah, just voting to
Get your
approve
hand
the
up.
minutes.
Get your hand up.
11. I need to. So we have 12. Oh, that's it. I don't know if you guys noticed that feature, but it shows all the hands raised. So we have 12 hands raised.
Right.
Sounds good.
So,
Okay.
Can we say
so
good night?
kudos to Teresa for great minutes. I think we all need to send individual emails to Sarah, who did drop off eventually, but she's in Macedonia and got up at 4 a.m. to attend this meeting to help us achieve quorum. And I
That's
think she
awesome.
finally drifted. But so anybody who wants to thank her personally, it'd be great. And
Thank you.
and I
Chris.
think we're gonna dispense with committee updates. Is that
Okay.
correct?
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Chris. I hope
you
you
gonna-
feel
Wait,
better.
wait. Greg,
Laura
did you
has to
just say
adjourn.
you have a committee update?
No, I'm just saying good night. Good night. I got.
Oh, okay.
I gotta go. Yeah. All right.
You-
Bye.
Are we
Night.
adjourned?
Oh,
Laura, are we
Is
adjourned?
meeting adjourned?
Yeah, we are. And Teresa, did you want to save the chat or just have me send it to you?
No, I've been saving as we've been going along.
Okay. And
So,
Good night, everyone.
okay.
Good night,
Good night,
Paula.
everybody. Thank
Good
you
night.
very much.
Good night, everybody.
Night,
Paul,
everyone.
I'm calling you, Paul.
Take care, be well. So
Good
Laura,
night,
I
all.
didn't have to say anything for
I'm calling
homelessness
you.
or nothing else.
okay.
Okay,
Oh,
good
I'm
night.
sorry. Sorry.
Crazy.